This is the Town of Newport Planning Board, June 14th, 2022 at 6:03 PM. And we'll start with a roll call with Bert on my right.
Herb Teller.
Herb Teller, yeah.
Herb Teller, BSP alternate.
Ken Merrill.
EOS alternate, excuse me.
Not yet, you haven't appointed me.
Tobin Menard.
And we'll have Bert Spalding as a fill-in for the vacancy,
Ray Kibbe. For Ray Kibbe.
or Rick Kibbe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We have a vacancy also.
We do, absolutely, you're right.
I will put him sitting for a person, Ray Kibbe.
Okay. Rick Kibbe then.
And I'm here.
Agenda review. I think we should go to new business unless you,
Absolutely. Continued could be moved to the end.
anybody else got any ideas?
I'll make a motion, we move new business to the next, to item 4 on the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We'll go on to new business. And we will start with, make sure I get the right folder
It should be the first
here.
one,
5
the
is
top one.
first.
It should be the, there are 2 5s.
Yeah.
One is an SDFP for Fox family.
I got a 5 and a 6.
The
Oh.
first one should be for the Fox family. There should be 3 there. I can take the other 2 and hand them
I
to
got
you.
that one. Yeah,
Does this say Fox right here?
yeah.
Yes. So these 2. I'll hand out.
Case number 2022 SDFP 5, Fox Family Revocable Trust Owner, requests a final review for a minor subdivision, property identified from map 231, lot 021, located at 289 Maple Street in the rural zoning district. Yes.
I have a question. The zoning board Thursday night, here's this case. Are we appropriate in going forward with that case tonight? I have talked to Christina, and Christina feels that it has been done in the past. My question is, with Winslow, they have to be as impartial as a lot of humanity will admit. When they find out that we've already approved it on the planning board, how can they meet that standard?
They're going for the approval of a backlot, which is an allowed use via special exception. Again, Bert makes a good point, if we think we'd be tainting the ZBA, if they're watching, which might be presumptuous, that's a joke,
Well,
anyway.
technically they are watching, because a sitting member of the planning
And he
board tonight
could,
is a
absolutely. And
zoning board member.
that's absolutely true. And he could recuse himself if he feels he's tainted in any way by proving it. I do feel you have to look at 2 very different criteria on the zoning and the planning. That's why there are the 2, and that they, regardless of your approval, if they really felt that this doesn't meet the criteria of a backlot or was for some reason unsafe to do so or inappropriate for whatever reason, they should hold to that. But Bert makes a good point.
Isn't there a reason why we have the procedure, they go first and we...
You can
Proceed from there.
circumvent that based on approving something, based on then they still have to meet the requirement of getting it approved by the ZBA. It is an allowed use, although maybe Tom could even, but again, it's whatever you guys decide. It's an allowed use with the oversight and approval to make sure they've checked all the boxes for the requirements for a backlot.
It just seems like we run the risk of prejudicing the other side.
Absolutely could.
The argument.
In the case of Winslow, that's exactly what happened. Because an abutter came forward, and we wound up all the way to the New Hampshire Supreme Court for the standard. which is the quasi judicial setting. We are the jury. And so we have been subjected to this information.
They are seeing this
Christina's-
Thursday. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Christina's answer was we could do it contingent upon the ZBA approval. But if an abutter decides to go forward, we prejudice the jury.
I think the only safe way is to continue this until zoning has their say.
So, Bert, I have a question. With you being on the zoning board, how are you gonna act? You gonna act here or you gonna act there?
I wouldn't sit, but,
For zoning?
Right.
Right. Okay.
but
I'm just trying to map through it.
without a juror de voir, you don't know if others have listened or got the information somewhere.
Yep.
And even if you did know that, are you trying to circumvent the law?
So the ZBA actually meets in 2 days, which is somewhat unusual. And then you kind of have a late meeting in June and are a little earlier, well, you're on the 12th. So I guess it's still a month. It would be a month away. I was thinking it was slightly shorter, it's not. It's almost like the ZBA meets early, so it would be a month for them to be seen back by you. Which shouldn't mean anything, just stating that's when they would be seen back.
Would this board entertain a special meeting to do it because of the change, to do it after?
We could.
Sometime between now and
But
then.
that would have to be contingent upon the zoning board getting through it as well. So it's if,
Yeah.
all the ifs.
Is
I
there
believe it's
urgency?
Ken, I believe it's a simple decision for them.
No, I,
So
without even going.
I don't see it being complex.
So they've got to go to get the approval to build on the back lot first.
No,
To
No, they
have-
got the.
to
to
have-
just
use.
have, to create a backlot.
Right, it's a special exception that they have to get through.
Right now, we'd be putting two primary residents on one lot.
But I think Herb had a good question, is this a time-critical decision that, it waits until our meeting next month to approve? It's gonna put them in a bind?
But is the applicant here?
Tom?
Is that,
Hi, good evening, Kathy Fox, how are you? Nice to be here. To answer your question, sir?
Yep.
No. Again, we recently purchased the property last year.
Right.
And we're looking to, again, this be our future home. The subdivision is simply to accommodate a family member, an elderly relative, and who would occupy the home. So we're in the early stages, so no urgency
Okay.
at all.
Yeah, we just wanna make sure we have all the
No,
Ts and Is.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
not a problem,
So,
not a problem. Thank
so
you.
given, Mr. Chairman, so given that statement, I would make a motion that we continue this, well, we haven't actually accepted it completely either, but we continue this case until the next planning board meeting.
So you've opened the case, then that's fine, then you don't even have to
We'll
do,
just
it's,
continue it.
yeah.
Right.
Should you maybe review it for completion, so next time they come, we don't falter on that level?
If anybody's watching that.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's-
think we-
You don't even want to go any
Let's just
further?
open it and do it the next time.
If you're gonna have the other meeting, why do anything now?
Yeah.
I was just stating, so we don't waste their time next time, if they haven't given everything just required. Not that they've done anything, just given everything. that's
We have the
required.
checklist we can go down through real quick, so. So yeah, so that would be my motion, to continue case
Second,
We have-
SDFP-5. to-
We have a motion and a second by Bert. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it, we will continue our meeting.
And
Yes,
that will be noted as July 12th, 2022 at 6 o'clock.
that's correct.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for your patience.
Oh, you're very welcome.
We'll see you on Thursday.
Yes, you will.
If they got 200 feet of frontage, they would have to have a special exception.
Absolutely sure. And I have a card on the way out if you, but it's all right. Or just call me. Thank you.
This is the correct map.
We've done it many times. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, that one's gonna go in there. Now I'll take the next unit. Christina?
Oh, my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm still looking. All first time. 2022 SDFP. Apologize.
Yeah.
This one. Yes, case sales.
Hey, do you want this one back?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have some deeds associated that the applicants provided,
Yes.
that are associated with the Fletcher Road properties. Eddie, did she get it? Do you want one of this to follow? No.
Thought this had the specification of modification. See it? That's it.
Are you gonna open it, Dave? Are you gonna open it again?
Yes, but we were looking for there was a section here that said it couldn't be subdivided.
Unless this changes.
Because they've got a whole bunch of
Yes.
new pieces.
And This is all coming to us right here.
Well, first, we'll open it and we'll go from there. Okay, our next case is 2022 SDFP 6, Hardscrabble Property Management LLC owner, request a final review for a minor subdivision, property identified from map 206 lot 006, located at 213 Fletcher Road in the rural zoning district. Do you have any input on this?
I know, I apologize, I didn't get to, I really don't. It's done within the guidelines of town zoning requirements, and frontage, so on. In regards to, the easement, the land as it's registered itself, and the easement in the deed, that may be another question. It is registered on the tax map as land use, at least a portion of the one family, due to the home that I believe is occupied.
Got a question, Brett?
I raised the question to Christine earlier today, that all of this has an easement, which under, on page 4, item B, no subdivision. So,
Which document?
He's on, that was the assessing.
the document itself has 16 pages. I went as far as page 6. But I believe all we need is to get to page 4. These are not numbered. So this is,
We have 2 pages from
excuse me,
On
my
my
husband
page
said we don't
4.
have that document, but I have 2 pages from that document. It's the deed, isn't it, from the registry?
yeah,
Is that the one?
You have the
Page
full
4?
one?
page 4.
The full deed?
The 16 pages?
I wasn't
We have
given
4
that.
pages.
I was not given that. I was given these.
B, come on, Bert.
So of the full deed, this is 4, and
B,
then this is
no
7.
subdivision, and I don't see it here. I did not copy it.
This is the new appendix.
Okay, so we would have to, we'd have to find out how that applies to B in and of itself. Virginia, the easement criteria still apply to those 3 lots?
Yes. I believe so.
Okay. I'm gonna be careful here. I would like to see us table both of these until an attorney gives us an opinion. I went through 6 pages of it, and I found 2, no subdivision. But I didn't go through it all. And right when I got to page 6, excuse me, I said, somebody's got to have a legal opinion here before we go forward, because it is complex.
I mean, the documents that I'm reading here, I don't even see a reference
Yeah,
to no
this-
subdivision.
Well,
In this, in the quitclaim deed, this here, and then this is just the easement.
because they changed the amendments on here,
See, the metes and bounds on here, the language used in the easement is particular to the 3 lots. And I'll just give an example. The 3 lots cannot be under separate ownership. It's got that criteria. Other people can come on them, but the underlying ownership of the 3 lots stays the same to whoever. And that person that buys it has to conform to all the easements, which is, you can do this and you can't do that. So, we have a lot of people here tonight on this one, and it'd be a big disappointment for them to go away, but I don't know how we can do the right thing here.
On the end, it says the replacement, the original Appendix A to the conservation easement deed with replacement Appendix A attached here too, which correctly describes the conservation easement property. And the conservation easement deed as amended is hereby ratified and confirmed in all other respects. So if it says that it can't be divided in there, that's, to me, all of the other respects.
Okay, this is what you've got. All right, I did not copy it off. I should have, and if I did, but we can, if you've got a computer, you could pull it up.
I can pull it up. They don't let you, they used to let you print. I used to kind of be able to hit, and they figured out how to not allow you to do that because you have to have an account to print the pages off Registry of Deeds. And so somehow they fixed, makes sense. They don't want people. So I can't print anything. And I don't have a computer, so I can't really get the deed. I could go I could go down and pay for the 16-page deed right here,
Yeah.
easily, and then I believe I could make as many photocopies as we would want.
All right, well, it's, I've had this on my table for a week, and I didn't bring it up till today, so that part of the delay would be caused by me getting to it, not till today, but,
It would just be easier for the applicant just to get copies.
Absolutely, the applicant
Need to be
really
put with
should
the
bring,
folder.
right, I typically don't generate information, typically.
Right.
I will say, I knew about this property, I knew about the easement on it, and there could be, I had always known about the house, and I believe it was being because I've spoken about this before, that the manager of the property lives in the home, I was under, that's not true.
No.
It's rented to someone just else. Okay, I might have, sure, I've known that this land can't be touched or changed in any venue. Tom, do you have any information?
I don't know what you're looking at, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right.
I can cite an example, I think, 20 years ago, where they had 2.5 acres out of conservation designated as farmer goods property. And that was separated later on.
Was that in Newport?
No, it was in Plainfield.
Oh, okay, because I feel like, I'm like, that must be the case I'm remembering.
Yeah, there was restrictions put on, like, the access to it, and somebody bought it and wanted to change that. No, they could not. They had to stick with the original non-conservation area, period. And what you see mapped is exactly what's non-conservation property.
They weren't changing what was in conservation, they were changing something that was already there.
I think you can hear that.
They had set aside that particular piece of land outside of the conservation easement, correct?
Yeah,
Prior to the,
yeah, that was decided by the farmer.
it wasn't after they got the conservation easement and they were trying to separate out these.
That was part of the conservation easement. There was a building where the house.
The house.
was. That was one area, and then another area designated as.
That's what I had understood also, because this has been being looked into for a few years, right? To get this house removed from the conservation. Isn't that correct?
The way I look at it, it's already subdivided. It was, the subdivision was created when they created the conservation.
Which is outside of that, the 5 acres.
Yeah, it's separated.
Around the house.
3 lots, correct?
Well,
That-
It has to be one of those complete.
the two pieces that you see on both of these maps are non-conservation areas.
That's
Period.
what my
those
understanding.
Exactly where they are
And that, yeah, nothing could be ever changed on the conservation. Was my understanding too, but it is that was, and I believe I thought I had spoken, I thought that somehow this was the man, but that's all wrong.
We haven't accepted this case yet.
Legal opinion might be a good idea.
We're already discussing it.
The entire 100.
We've got to do one thing or the other. We either got to accept this as complete and go from there, or we got to table it until we get a legal opinion on the easement, because we can't talk about this until it's been accepted.
You could accept it as complete and just ask for additional information if you want, or,
That's an oxymoron.
well, no, anyone, you could go into the case though, and then as you're going through it, you've decided you want more information, we just continue the case. You just don't make a decision,
Or we could just,
say it's not
then
complete.
open, we could say it's not complete, and it needs to get complete for the next,
What,
continue to the next meeting to complete.
would that just be town council lawyers, or would that be a real estate lawyer that would review this?
Good.
I'm agreeing that we've got to have that review, but we don't determine that review.
I have to determine
Okay,
who.
the town manager will determine
Okay,
that
fine.
review.
I'll go to him then.
But I want to make a point before we go forward. 16 pages of legal talk that is done by someone very intelligent and knowing what he is doing for his client, she is doing for a client. So we need to understand that, and we need to be supplied copies well in advance of the next meeting of.
Basically, what we
I-
need is a decision saying that this lot 1, 5.13 acres
Is not in the easement,
is not an easement. And then,
not included in it.
you're right. And that the non-divisible clause is only pertaining to the easement area.
So,
Which
The
is
state,
all 3 lots.
I think initially, looking at the documents that are in front of me, I mean, you're referencing a 16-page legal document, which is not part of this submission.
it was not submitted.
That's the incompleteness of the application?
Not
So we-
necessarily, it just wasn't given to me.
In order for us to review it, that needs to be there.
We don't get all the deeds for all subdivisions, but yes, I'm gonna go get it obviously for this one.
But Christina, it's super important to what's going on here.
Absolutely, that's why I just said yes.
If in fact we were to say, yes, without the knowledge,
No, I agree, I don't typically go on Sullivan County Registry of Deeds for all subdivisions, but yes, obviously for this one, the additional information is needed.
right, I didn't go there either. How I got it was from Avatar Associates' tax card, which says under notes, yellow, now, a lot of abbreviations here in this, and newer P&E, Insel, older kitchen, newer baths, 60s, 02 hearth added, 04 current use per 304 management plan, 05, but 4.0 acres, subject to conservation easement, must convey with no future subdivision. Now, I put the must convey with 83-646, no further subdivision. So when that happened, upon reading that, and I'll find you the other one here. Got the other one.
Does the 16-page one predate the ones that were in the file? Are they prior to 06? And I can find that out too. I don't have my computer in front of me, but I wonder if that's why they gave us the most recent, and the larger one is a previous.
And if I can, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on the other 2 lots, garage only, barn, no value, caved in, 2004 current use updated per 304. Stewardship plan, 2005, subject to conservation easement with the listed easement. Can maintain garage and use as OB. I'll know that in a minute. Only, no further subdivision. So now, this covers lot 3 and 4, 6. And so here is, that's 3, and here it is. Here it is, no subdivision. This is on 4.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty weird. Well, until somebody can clarify whether we're talking apples to apples or apples to oranges, we gotta figure out what's what, so.
So, I'm just having a thought here. So could we, and have the conversation, ask the question, and have the, based on this research that we've already done, request from the applicant, those documents that are listed here, 83, 646, and
The ones that he's got on.
those, and then leave it at that.
And then could,
Yeah.
then say what could, yes,
And
could.
that would be the way, right?
I believe so.
So we are open, right?
It's been read in. You got all the numbers, right? Okay.
So I guess I would make a motion that we don't accept as complete, pending the applicant providing the backup documentation as listed in the property cards from Avatar, for each of the 3 lots.
You mean
And
the
I'm-
deeds?
I'm gonna add that
Yes.
number for you there in a moment. I'm just checking all 3 of them here to make sure that we've got,
You want this one?
yep.
That's 83, 646.
And I was still gonna want a lawyer looking at it.
Well, I think we gotta start, we gotta get the documentation first, and then we can go the next step, A simple read of that may clarify the conversation. We don't have that to even look at. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, I need the one with 9 on it.
With what?
What, excuse
It's
me,
gotta
what?
be in your-
I'm looking at 6,
6,
4,
3,
and
and
8,
4.
3.
Yeah.
Okay, here's
I think they're gonna be 3 separate.
1492,
There should be 3 separate
851.
documents.
Yeah,
one-
yes.
One for each property card.
Right, and one of them happens to be the 16 pin, but then I'll have to find out what the other ones are.
Whatever those are, those need to be provided so that you can evaluate.
Okay, so
To
that,
then get into,
okay, so that card is just for one of the properties. You want me to go into all 3
Yes.
and tell them what they should get for me? Okay,
no, I mean, I am combining the next. Okay,
Yeah.
Why do we even have to be in 4? Because it's only
Because
in
just
6.
based on the read of the deeds. I think we need to get those documents to
Are you
read it and
thinking lot
understand.
4? Okay,
Lot 6, lot 4 is back here.
yeah, okay, look at the map I drew up there. The road that I didn't continue there is Fletcher Road,
Yeah,
and 6 is on the right-hand side,
yeah.
3 and 4 on the other side.
It's that
When-
3 and 4.
Oh, it's not this 4?
There's 2 4s on there. No, it's those 2 for this.
And,
It's these 2.
no.
You know what, George?
There are 3 lots.
I can print that card for all 3 lots, so you guys,
Actually-
would you want me to do that? Because you only have it for one, right?
Oh.
Three,
okay.
yeah, so there's 2 number 4s on there.
Yeah, why? That's confusing. So this is not the one we're talking about.
The point being, Dave, in the easement, they tie all 3 properties together
Yeah.
to remain in separate lots, but one owner, the owner,
And that's in the other document you read? Not,
the 16.
not yet, so we don't even have that to evaluate. Bert had it, 'cause, he did the research, but we need it in the.
Right, but that's one of them. Each one should have their own deed. I think there's gonna be 2 additional.
Each of the 3 properties
Yes.
needs its own deed, research with covenants, whatever it is, or restrictions,
Yeah,
so that we can evaluate that document.
And whether or not that non-division is pertinent to lot 6.
Sure.
Yes.
So a simple read of that, if it clearly says you cannot subdivide this property, blah, 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 that may be the end of the submission at that point. You just gotta read down through that to get,
So when I go look at records, you typically have the last one submitted of the last owner. Are money every time it's been sold. Should I be taking just the book and page from the last one, or do you want, because there's gonna be numerous deeds based on the sales.
I'll do the title search for you. I'll do it.
there again, I mean, applicant should do it, and provide the documents we need.
Right, but you have to, but which ones
And
do you,
we
which ones
need-
do you want? Because there's multiple to one property. You just want the most current deed, right?
What we need is a decision from a legal counsel that it is okay to subdivide this
Okay.
with these restrictions.
So you want me to, it's for a legal counsel to review these properties prior to seeing you next month?
Yes.
And let him,
And
Let
right,
him review
let-
the
let-
deeds.
Let him do the,
and right now, we are doing a vote on whether or not to accept this as complete. And right now, there's a motion to accept it as not complete.
Correct.
second.
And we have a second by Bert. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. And it will be referred back to the owners to get the,
So now we can get to the next one.
Yes.
Even before we open it. We haven't even opened it.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
What is the role of the public in this discussion? Just to listen, or are we as abutters allowed to engage?
you can engage when it is open to the public.
Thank you.
When we have our discussion here and he does his presentation, after it's accepted, he does his presentation showing where everything's gonna go. And then if we have any questions, we ask them. Then it's open to the public for pros and cons.
So then you
And
have
then
not
it's-
accepted this, so it's not going to be
So it's not
discussed.
even open.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy to provide you with the information you need, but you don't want it tonight, that's fine.
We can't do it today. We can't take a layperson
No, no.
and say,
If you could please make sure that to
I
the
don't-
office, that would be.
I don't typically accept unless from an applicant.
Okay, well, yeah. However it gets there, it's an
But
applicant.
she could present anything
You can hand it to
during
the applicant, the applicant give it.
Well, if the applicant wanted to, or she could present it verbally in the thing.
so I'm gonna add these two to the file.
They were in the file, yes.
Oh, these are in the
Those
back.
were in the file, yes. I took them from there to make copies for everyone,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Well,
Yes,
they're not in here now.
well, because I took them out to make copies, that's what I was doing, yeah. Because they were given by Tom
Right?
Yeah.
But is that, this,
as part of the,
because the next one is the same.
Same, next one is the same.
So you shouldn't even go there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
may I ask just a procedural question?
Sure.
Of the planning board? I'm concerned about the process, because I see here type of request, and it has informational, preliminary, and final, but we just got the final copy, which was received in May 24th. When
Yeah.
does informational or preliminary come
some,
into play?
that's just a card that we go by. In some places, in other towns, you do a meeting for preliminary, and you go home. And then you do the next step, and you go home.
Okay.
Each one is a month apart, at least. So what we do is let them get all their stuff together and present it as complete. That's why we vote on it as complete. And then we go right into the meeting, which
Okay.
saves time and oftentimes a lot of money. When it's something that gets like this that has technical issues that we don't understand, then those need to be addressed.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
that
Thanks,
answers your
yeah,
question?
thanks for the clarification.
Another point of clarification, question if I may. Was the Society for Protection of New Hampshire Forests notified of this hearing, given that they have the conservation easement? We actually have the amendment here, but since 2004, it was amended in 2006, they hold the 123-acre conservation easement.
And I'm just curious if they were notified by the town or the
I
county.
do not know.
Hold on, I should be able to tell you that.
Because it might be worth doing, given that they have a legal
Well,
department.
you,
and will
I
probably
mean, you do a
follow up.
butters, do you do a?
I do a
signs?
butters.
You don't do a signs though, right?
So I do the owners, legally, I have to do all the abutters and the owner of the property. And that's all I do. New Hampshire Fish and Game were notified, but you're talking about who has the oversight?
Who has the easement? I mean, just to save some hassle on the back end, I just point out that they're an interested party. And
Yeah,
Can
the
I
signs
correct
are
on
legal
that?
term.
Please do.
Good.
The easement is what the people have now.
Yes.
The owner is. So the owner here did not get notified. It's an
Hard scrap.
I give you an easement to go on my property.
Correct.
I own the property. And I didn't get a notice in this case.
Well, Hard Scrabble is the owner of the property on the tax cards.
Owner of the easement.
Owner of the land. Hard Scrabble LLC is
This is why
not.
the document needs to be read.
Yeah.
Who's presenting that? Who are the people? So whoever submitted this are the owners.
That's the.
So who submitted?
That
One-
question is a good reason for it's incomplete. So it's
Hard
like-
Scrabble Property
Is the
Management
owner of this
LLC
property.
is deemed as the owner.
They are the owner of the property, yes. And they submitted. That's who the owner is. Yeah, period.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if they're violating anything in these, easements and deeds, and then that would be prevented from subdividing.
Yes.
Prevent them from subdividing.
If I give you an easement, Christina, to go across my property, you don't own the property, but you have an easement, you have a right. And those rights are subject to all of the criteria, wait a minute, that I put into the process, into the deed that was sold to you. So when you read the deed, it will become clear, when you go through the 16, that there's no subdivision on B.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the subdivision, I was just talking about the ownership of the property, that's it.
Right, but only under the conditions that it was purchased with the easement, or what's the word I want? You're good with those long words.
Criteria,
Not criteria, but
restrictions.
standards that are applied, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's applied.
They have to follow them, yes.
That's right.
But the owners were notified, yes.
But the people with the easement were not.
So the next one,
One or the other.
which is the one on annexation of the 3 and 4 lot, it doesn't say they can't be annexed. It says they can't be subdivided.
True. I would say you might want legal opinion on that also, but normally I'm one for getting the process going more smoothly if possible. But you're absolutely right. That would sound, you're absolutely right. I thought we were deferring all of them, but you're absolutely
No,
right.
we've only done one.
Done the one.
So far, that's number 6.
Okay, the first one, the other one is in annexation.
Yes.
Yes.
And I would
So-
say to the other one, with the tie of the easement to all 3 lots being in the same ownership, subject to the same criteria, we are doing the same thing. An annexation, what they're really doing in that annexation, and I did the acreage here, they're taking a 21.2 and a 17.7, which equals 38.9 acres. That's now. They are then making it, the 21.2 goes to 36.15. The 17.7 goes to 2.75. Did the person who did the easement intend the properties to be subdivided in that way and the restrictions go with or without? It is a subdivision.
The annexation is,
You're moving a
don't believe,
line,
is creating a
making
new lot.
2 different lots. This lot bigger, this lot smaller. You're moving the lines that were established and are clear in the legal documents.
But Bert, didn't you even say an annexation is you start with a certain amount of lots and you end with the exact same, and a subdivision is you start with a certain amount and you end with more?
I'm gonna pull out my wallet, and I know it doesn't have a license in there to be an attorney.
But you have stated that clearly here.
So I have to be smart enough to get the hell out. Okay? So that being said, we gotta get a legal opinion. And sorry that everybody had to show
How
up.
can that end up as 2 acres?
The house lot. Just taking this line and doing that one.
The easement changes.
Yeah,
what
just
you can
that.
do.
Yeah, but he's removing this one.
Doesn't the easement change what you can do with that property as far as annexation or anything else? I mean, there are very few restrictions.
Oh,
Racing this.
so this is gonna be 3 and that's 4?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I wasn't looking at that.
This is a lot line adjustment, not
Yeah.
annexation. We haven't got there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Thank you, Bert, for saying that a subdivision is an annex. Loved it.
Yeah, you see, I tried to correct him,
We got it on
Ken.
tape.
Ken, I tried to correct him. He didn't,
So, you can open that?
Yes.
Ken wants to do a victory lap.
Yes.
Our next order of business is 2022 ANNEX 5 Hardscrabble Property Management LLC. Owner requests a final review for an annexation. Property identified from map 206, lot 003 and 004, located at 244 Fletcher Road in the Rural Zoning District. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion that we call 2022-annex-5 incomplete submission for lacking the legal documents to review the deed restriction.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask one question?
Yes.
Just for what I need to do. You would like me to get from the applicant the backup documentation via the deeds on all these properties, and then you would like me, with the town manager's assistance, choose counsel to review and give the opinion on these 2 cases.
Yes.
Perfect.
Whether we are in our legal domain to say, yes, we can annex, and yes,
Whether
we
you could
can
even just, yes,
subdivide, or do we have to leave these things alone?
I will do that.
One exception to those instructions. The applicant should not lead this. The applicant had an opportunity to submit everything for the property, and we didn't have it. So therefore, we should ask legal to look at these current recorded documents and tell us
So
what the easement says.
So
Not-
you'd like what they've given me, or more additional information? Because if it's just what they've given me, it would be in here, it wouldn't have the additional documents. You want those additional documents added, right?
If a two-title search was done on this property, this would have been brought right up. Would
Okay.
have found it right from the get-go. And that, right there, then, would have alerted everyone to what is happening. It didn't happen. So now, to go to the applicant and say, please give us all of the information, go to an attorney, get the title looked at, and all of the information then comes to light as it is.
Via the attorney.
That's right.
Okay, so no mention of that.
You want that as a motion?
No, it doesn't need to be a motion, I just want to
It's
be
just
very
direct.
clear on so I get it, and I will, I think I can get it right, I think I can make sure through speaking without violating you guys being, compromised, with me getting you the correct information.
What about notification of Society for the Protection of Forest? Since they're the easement holder?
Yeah, I think she can do that.
I could do that, I don't know if I'm breaking, I'm gonna have to ask, I do not go outside guidelines of abutters. I don't have the authority to do that.
Check with legal?
And see if, yes,
Is it a butters and a signs, or?
absolutely, I will check, because I can't just haphazardly do a certified mail to someone that is not an abutter. I can't even do it, right, I can't even send a notice to someone that is not an abutter.
Okay.
Me personally, anyone else could.
Okay. That being done, thank you all for your participation and coming in. This is the biggest turnout we've had in a while.
I know, it's exciting.
See you July 12th.
Yes, July, and hopefully we'll...
So we'll get another notice then.
No, no more notices.
Virginia, I can't.
This was a notice, it's continued. The cases have been to
No,
continue to a date
I'm
and
a
time
I'm a
certain.
juror in a case that you're interested in.
They're
I'm not even gonna
continued
discuss
to
the
the,
case. I'm gonna
to
show
the
you
June.
the
I will ask them to before they
I
end.
was
They- Both of
given
these, they will not be
for this meeting
renoticed.
tonight.
The first one was continued.
It's fine.
As in a butter?
We'll continue the
This is the
second one.
map that was attached to
I'll
it.
have them continue. There will be no new notices,
Yes.
but I'll have
That
them do
mistake
that
was
right
made
now.
on
Okay.
all of these cases.
It's gonna be June 12th,
And just
6
so you
PM.
know, when
I
you
can write
read
it down
these,
for
it's
you.
a book and page
And
error.
we did receive
July,
new
I'm sorry,
maps,
apologize.
and if you'd
July
like a new
12th
map,
at 6
No, I-
PM.
I got one.
Which would be a Tuesday. Could you continue, make a motion to continue the annexation case to a time and date certain for next
Oh.
month?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we continue 2022-Annex-5 to the July 12th, 2022, 6 PM meeting.
I'll
second.
second for this, okay, for discussion.
And that's for both.
We're pushing the envelope on getting an attorney and getting it done.
We're in Maine.
But maybe some,
Well, if it's incomplete next month, we can just continue it. It's already open, so it's just,
so, okay. But,
I
guess
yeah,
we'll-
I'm going to agree. Sometimes you set that end date, things get done a lot. If you set it further back,
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it's better to set it try than it is to...
if we have to move it, we move it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. It will be, the annex will also be heard on July 12th, 2022, pending all items that we need will be here. Okay, our next, going back to what we skipped over, again, thank you very much for coming in and participating.
Because we could have done it, but they didn't.
Continued business, we need to sign Mylars for O'Connor, Barton, and Whiting.
Yes, the two, the Barton and the O'Connor, the Mylars, we didn't have that day. I don't believe
Yeah.
you have to stay, Tom, because you provided checks. So you don't have to stay for the signing, because your wife provided checks, and I'll bring them to the deeds, registry.
Yeah, we gave the check, right?
Yeah, so I'm all set.
If you call this a private vote.
No, we didn't make this.
So all of these have been
Oh, just a right
approved.
away.
You heard it though, right?
The first one, the Dan Whiting, you guys did sign the Mylar. However, there was a smudge in the notation, and they wouldn't, in the stamp, and so the registry of deeds wouldn't take it, so they had to create a new Mylar.
So if you
all
make
three are
this a
here.
private road,
You can sign here, hold on, again.
Place to put a house.
Yeah.
remember?
Other pens in there?
No?
There's pens over here, but
There's a smaller one.
Just pick it. It would bypass one whole thing.
That's what I did.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay.
it's lot line adjustment, and then you can define within that, and actually Bert made that suggestion earlier. you
Thanks,
can have
Tom.
Multiple layers of lot line adjustment,
Okay,
but
that's,
in it doesn't exist in any dictionary. It's an addition to.
Oh, that's a pretty one.
this one, there was a smudge, you guys signed the Mylar, but there was a smudge across it, and they
Oh, they wouldn't
wanted
accept
a
it.
new Mylar made.
No.
The registry made them, this was what you did, was the 1240. Now, could you sign underneath too, please? Sorry. Just sign, yeah, that one's, or, yeah, that one's fine. That one's fine, I know. It's
Wow.
confusing.
Can't be delicate with
I'm
this.
coming back.
Okay.
Okay, I skipped you on that one, I'm gonna come back around on that one, because you were in the middle.
Okay, I don't have a pen, so you pass
I'll
it.
come to
pass
the
it.
end.
This is just, for those,
Oh,
tell them we need your pen when you're done with it.
oh, he's just doing one more, I think. These were, and these other two you had approved just last month. We just never got them. I know, I'll buy new pens, I'll get new pens. You guys should just write your, write them big.
I thought in this drawer there was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, they're all the big monsters.
Is the bigger the better, isn't that a saying or something?
Yeah, but you can't read.
You can't-
I mean, it looks cool, but you can't
Okay,
read it.
here, and if you could do on the under, on the last one too, Here, Dave.
The paper?
Yeah, on the last page paper. And again, these were all cases from, we just did not have enough, which we typically do.
Pull it up and
You did this one. This is the first one, I'll get you a pen in 1 minute.
Just the bottom one, I don't want them all.
Yeah, I don't need them all, but thank you. And you did the top one?
I think so, yeah, I did.
Okay, so just this
That
last.
goes over in the
Top and the bottom.
Make
At least.
sure they don't smudge.
No, it wasn't that, though, it's your guys' thing, this,
The signatures would be the same way.
I know, this was like bent in half when it went through the printer. It was that emblem that was smudged, on the whiting
Oh.
one only.
They make a,
What's this,
Eraser
chairman
for
keeps the
that.
checks?
It was,
it used to be like fingernail polish. You put it on, you could take and erase any line on them, Mylar you wanted.
really?
Yeah.
Well, they made.
You want just one of the whites on?
Oh, can I-
Back when they made blue
That's your,
prints.
you signed that one.
What's this, the chairman gets the checks?
Well, I gotta have,
Oh.
I gotta have beer money.
So then could you've signed all of them?
Yeah, you got enough signatures.
I do,
That's
I do.
amazing.
Okay, you don't want your John Hancock on there? Okay.
There's nothing else.
Just top? Top and one.
Top and one underneath.
Now, let me ask a question, just for a question's
No.
sake. Oh, no, we're still in a meeting, so I'll ask it during open forum. Just for my personal,
I was gonna say, you know, are you asking as the public, or?
no, I guess it would be under administration, but we still have the minutes and,
All right, so we're continuing on.
thanks.
Okay. That's all of the continued business. We'll go to the minutes for May 17th, 2022. Yeah.
Did you need a copy of the minutes?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
It is noted in the minutes that the minutes of April 12th were tabled.
that's right, because we didn't have a quorum. Well,
I will add the April 12th minutes to the July meeting.
Okay,
Thank you, Mara.
but I think I've got those. I do, I've got mine.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else. I'll just table that one, or if we could. Or I could go make, do you want me to make copies? Do people want copies of the April 12th to try to approve them? Okay. To the July
Did you
meeting.
have you had your copy before, right? No?
Well, I did, but I didn't put it in with here because it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh,
I bring enough paperwork, I'll bring in more trash.
really? I really don't want this stuff. Before we get papers, where they don't
I
have an April.
know, those I think are just all yours.
No, these.
Wait, is that a?
This is
Nope,
mine.
nope, that's all yours.
Yeah, I think that meeting was on page.
So we're May 17th right now.
Okay, so the minutes are on the table for discussion.
Yes,
May I speak to that?
you may.
Page 2. The second paragraph is a long paragraph, but go down to where it starts off, the line that starts off, Mr. Spaulding. Addressed Mr. Dombrowski and explained the different types of easements. Mr. Barton should check which type he had and what consents it gave. Now, most people do not understand that an easement is directed, a directed property right to someone. So, and here, we're looking at an easement of what to do with land, and here, I believe we're looking at an easement for our owner in the paragraph that's here. So that being said, Herb Teller builds a house, and he gets power that goes to it. And he signs it. And he signs in what is called in the profession leapfrog. Then, Mr. Merrill wants to build a house, and he hooks on to the line that he's paid for. X number of dollars per pole, significant, and so many dollars per feet between poles, significant money. He paid for it. When Merrill jumps on, he goes from here there to him. Doesn't pay anything from coming through that door to get to him in the first place. And then you jump in on that same easement, and again, you don't contribute anything that he paid. And I jump in. So, does the current wiring going into Barton have an easement that has got leapfrog in it? And if so, then it can go to the lot that he's created. If not, he has to give an easement for it to do that, to get from his pole to the property line and beyond. So, my question was more detailed than I put out. But it, in this case, they'll dope it out. PSNH or Eversource will say, we don't have an easement to go from your line, Mr. Barton, further, or we do. And that was important, my statement, but I didn't.
Is that one piece of it, and the next piece is the land under it, or?
Yeah,
I don't know where you were going with
normally, my driveway's a quarter of a mile long. There's an easement to put the pole in, and an easement for power.
crossing over and putting on under the thing. I don't know how they.
Right.
It's the easement, that direct line.
Right,
Yeah.
Right. So that they can go, so they can travel, and so they can work and get it done. And
Does that carry forward typically with trimming brush and everything if it gets overgrown on that easement?
yeah,
Yeah,
So
they'll
they
contact,
submit it,
they'll contact you, but they'll normally,
come and trim it.
yeah, you got like 30 days
Yeah.
to tell them that you want a meeting, or they just go and do what they want to do.
you can't stop them. If they can't trim, you don't get power. That's my
They
understanding.
lose power.
Pretty much.
Are we looking to make an explanation of what was said, or are we looking to change what was down as being said?
I don't know. I just didn't want Mr. Barton or the new property owner to be in a bad situation. So what it says is, and explain the different types of easements. I really didn't go into it. So maybe this is okay, that it plants a seed to Mr. Barton, that there is a difference.
Well,
And
does he choose to pursue it, one way or the other?
I wrote at the top as a note for words, the new easement / right of way can have both power and travel. To come off the existing power line is another question altogether. If the person wants to go up that new road to the property, he can do that because he owns it. But to go off of Barton's requires either his permission or the leapfrog.
I guess what I was thinking was, for reviewing minutes as to what was said at the meeting. If
Yeah, you really can't
an
add
explanation
anything,
is
right.
needed, they would have to come and ask for the explanation.
So I don't see any change for that would be helpful. And so I think enough said that, and then there was one other.
Do you want to add that to tonight's minutes? Your explanation of something from last meeting? With that, because we can't change last meeting's minutes, but you could state that you explained better a subject in
Well, it's
tonight.
already, Mara's already got it.
Okay. I didn't,
Yeah, little, hey.
well, I didn't understand much of it, so I was like losing, so.
Now we got one more. Halfway down, it says Chairman Burnham again stated he would not go against an engineer for road studies. Mr. Carr expressed his concern and frustration. A board member stated an opposite opinion. Who was the board member? So, Maura, we gotta find out who that culprit was.
Okay, which page are you on, please?
It's two,
Halfway down 3.
Page 3, halfway down,
page three.
the start of the
Oh, yeah.
4th
Who
paragraph.
do you know who that was?
I don't know.
Wasn't it?
You weren't here.
Oh.
It had to be Ray.
Had to be right.
Ray was the only other one there, right?
Maura's got it coming.
It's got,
Wait a minute, so Chairman Byrne, oh, I'm sorry, which paragraph? Fourth?
4th.
Chairman Burnham again stated.
Okay, if somebody expressed his frustrations with Mr. Carr, that would have been Ray Kibbe.
Ray Kibbe.
Although Tobin was there, right?
No, but Ray was quite adamant, he
yeah.
was very frustrated, so that it would have been.
Stated in opposite. Oh,
Ray
yeah.
stated that he never saw issues with that intersection, and he travels off
Yeah.
numerous
Yes,
times a day.
because that's when I had to step in and cool things down.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna blame it on poor absent fella.
Right, they can't defend himself. Well, no, just to mark in that it was Ray that stated that he objected to what he was saying.
Okay, that's it for me.
Anybody else? Any misspells? Hieroglyphics here on this stand? Okay. We have a motion to
Approve
accept.
as amended.
What's the amendment? To add Mr. Kibbe?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
Everything else was just discussion.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
We have a second by Tobin. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Herb Teller abstains. The ayes have it. And the addition of the name in that, of Ray Kibbe into that slot to verify who it was for future reference, if need be. Okay, now we'll come back to accept the minutes as amended for May 17th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
Didn't we already have a motion and a second?
No, that was just for the amendment.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh. That's the name of it.
So now we
Okay,
need a
you're right.
motion to
My
accept
first motion was.
as amended.
Accept the minutes as amended.
Yeah.
Was first motion.
As amended,
As
okay,
amended.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I missed the as amended.
No, he said as.
It's better to do it twice, I guess, than
I thought
miss
it was amended,
Is this where you
amendment,
turn to
never
them and
mind,
say you
okay,
never listened to
I'm
me?
good with it. My vote does not change at that point. Okay. It's been a long day. Next is administration, and you had,
Well, I had sent the examples via online of the surveys, our last survey for 2012, and last time we were here, you got, and we were gonna ask, the members that were here were asked to to make a new survey that they thought was most appropriate. I received Ray Kibbe's, and I sent out an email to the rest of the members to take the survey and kind of rip it apart and make it what they would think would be a good survey for 2022. Hopefully, if you haven't done it, I think the thought process is much, much more condensed, not so elaborate. It's somewhat the consensus with still getting the most information we can, due to the fact we got a 7% respondent rate, and it was a 12-page survey. So we were trying to really make it maybe onto one page and get maybe better, right. Just a thought. Someone can make it
Okay.
15 pages if they want, it's up to you. But then I was gonna redo all the surveys for each member
This is the whole survey.
and then bring them back to you.
This is what, well,
I'll make
I
some-
thought I made my adjustments here because I don't have time to be playing with computers.
Do you, so you can give that to me? I'm gonna, no, I just said just scratch it out. Everyone can do it via, like, they don't have to do it via computerized. They can write on the surveys and then
That's what Dave did.
and that's what Ray did.
Okay.
And then you guys could because I wasn't, then you guys could go over all the surveys and maybe come up then with one, based on everyone getting a little bit of milk they wanted, maybe.
I didn't understand the mission, I'll get it to you.
Okay, yeah, and just,
Well, I went through a lot of stuff that,
I did not do my job. I went through and did the yes, no's, yes, no's, yes, no's. And I got,
yeah, the things you want in it, or?
I got further in and I said, what the hell are they doing asking that in the first place? So I X'd it out. And then I got a little further and I cross-lined it out. I would suggest that we sit here for a few minutes and go through the first page and make changes because,
You can, that's what I did, exactly.
and so hopefully we're all in agreement. And if we don't,
Okay, hold on, I'm gonna have to get
agree,
copies.
then we,
Yeah, I left mine out.
no worries, I can go print them all out. Yeah, and absolutely, and I'm thinking, really, we want to just end up, even if you sent me whole sections crossed out and something added, but let me get, who doesn't have a copy? Right, 3, okay, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, we need to condense it down to match the 30-second attention span.
Exactly, or like a 3-minute attention span.
Like one of the things, while she's doing that, on question 3, community services, it says, level of funding do you think that the town should provide?
Yeah.
That,
it's not,
this is all budget items.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I said no, and, because I didn't know if she was gonna take these things or not, so, but that was a budget item, so that's basically, the whole thing was gone.
And part of the reason we probably only got 7% is because of the attention span of the average person sitting down to do it. And right here, we've had 3 of us actually say, we didn't do our job. If this is the yardstick we get measured by.
Yeah, so this is, on number 2 is, rate the following, services. I took out fire, police, rescue. The ratings are irrelevant, they are what they are.
Yes. And we don't control that.
Do not.
No control whatsoever. And the education that they get is beyond anything that we've got. You know, it's,
And then they had sewer and water service. Again, that's almost falls underneath, you know, the budgetary things. If you're gonna rate it, we're not gonna say, well, we need more sewer service and more water service. That's whatever the town has the engineer saying, okay, this is getting small, we need to upgrade bigger.
Well, unless
Am
you
I right?
talk about expansion to neighborhoods.
Yeah,
You know, if you ran sewer down by a neighborhood that all had leach fields and they wanted to hook on, that would be a fairly approach from here. You
yeah,
know.
I suppose.
Kinda hard to do.
They
in
didn't do
big
that when they
system.
did Sunapee Street,
No.
all the way to the door. That was decided in the selectman's office and it was done.
How would you couch that into a question?
Yeah, it's kinda,
Well, it could be, would you like to see expansion of town sewer to outlying areas or something?
It wouldn't be rating like how well they're doing it. It'd
No,
be-
just would you or wouldn't you,
Yeah.
you know?
expansion.
and with the water and sewer costs as they are right now, what do you think the people would say? Most vote no
Depends who would think.
No, but it's,
for next.
but if you're talking from a planning and growth of the town,
Yep.
right? If you're gonna invite industry or something, you know, water, sewer are huge in that equation.
Right. What should we do as a board with these pieces of paper? We should amend them to what we think we would get people to respond to, which
Yep.
means we gotta condense it, make it shorter,
And then make the question more broad.
apropos.
on number 1 there, page, the very first one, there, it strongly agree and all this, I don't, there's gotta be a different outtake to this.
You could go down
Yeah.
to 3.
And
You
look,
know.
I underline that word. To what extent do you agree that the following attributes significantly? Oh, okay. Well, that means I've got to come down here and do one of this to point out the amount of significancy.
How about if we just like have, agree, neutral, and disagree? I don't, why do we need all this other?
Yeah.
Fine.
I think that's.
Well, okay, village centers with New England charm.
I crossed that out.
Yeah, and I put no. We got Kellyville Village District, and we got North Newport,
I mean, I would say downtown compact or
something.
expansion, you know, right? Or something else, you know?
Yeah.
Where do you want to see development?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a question.
And type of.
Where in Newport would you like to
That's
see
what we're trying to
development?
find out. Where do you want to see development and what type of
I
development?
mean, do you want downtown, Pleasant, like, what am I, Pleasant Street redevelopment, or do you want Washington Street?
So there's a good
redevelopment?
question, okay? Do you want, and where, and type?
Yeah, do you want jobs in town or do you want, walking paths? You know?
We don't want any more dog parks.
You don't know that yet.
Right. We haven't asked it.
So what do we leave in there? Do we leave in the housing types, schools, and employment opportunities? And wipe out the,
Well, I put
Community
a
spirit.
no on good schools. We don't want good schools. I just got my ass beat bad for saying we ought to do something about our position. And I got beat up twice.
well, if that's it, but I mean, that is just,
Well, and the subject of school, based on the vote and the way the budget went, everybody wanted a good school because they got everything across the
yeah,
board.
pretty much.
So it's kind of a rhetorical question.
Okay.
to me.
Yes. If you ask somebody, do you want a good school, you would get yes.
Yeah, well,
I
and
mean,
they-
that
and
would be-
they- and their vote
Yeah.
spoke, and they funded every line item in the budget, so.
Yeah.
But again, that's a budget thing that, people vote on, so it's not really, we're not making the decision, on the
And
planning
there's
board.
no way to really push toward
Yeah.
that
But
in
don't,
a,
ever point out that they made a mistake.
I mean, would it be school replacement or renovation or upkeep?
Yeah.
or, you know?
how about the availability of mixed housing types for all income levels?
That to me was a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Community spirit, no.
So we're gonna go down this again when she comes back and the others have got their thing and just kind of get a consensus.
Oh, that's right, I'm just going
Keep
along.
going.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
Well-
reading each one.
Yeah, let's
We
get started,
can
we can
still
get it towards
discuss
the
it.
year.
And yeah, if we get through the whole.
Availability of
She gets
numerous
back.
outdoor recreational activities, we've already got there.
And we're getting two baseball fields, I understand.
Yeah, so that's an out.
Not by choice.
Convenient access to the interstate highway system, we've already got that, so that's a
You can't do
no-brainer.
it, I mean,
Yeah.
And then we can't go
Yeah.
through other people's towns to make it easier anyway. Employment opportunities.
I think we want friendly people with community spirit. We want to know there. Jesus,
So basically, we got just those two. We got mix of housing types for all income levels and employment opportunities.
I said 6 of those were okay.
Which 6?
Small town atmosphere and rural character. Availability of mix of housing types for all income levels. Good schools. Friendly people with community spirit. Availability of numerous outdoor recreational activities. And employment opportunities. But see, that's my opinion. We're looking for others'
But
opinion.
the small town atmosphere, we've already got that, and we're not projecting that. That's why we're planning for it.
But,
I mean, I think one thing to spin on the outside recreation, I would say conservation and improvement of green space, in-town green space, or town-owned green space.
Right, if we do it this way, if we just, on the first page, see where she's going. Running away with this. If we just do we need that header in the first place? To what extent?
So, to frame what we're doing, if we can back up for just a second, educate me. The master plan, what is the mission statement for the master plan?
We updated.
Oh,
Well, this is the ingredients of the master plan.
I know.
We're making a cake
I
here.
got it, if you want to hear it.
No, I just want to hear the mission statement of it, so that we can frame the questions around the mission statement, and not vary to budget, or vary to this or that. That's all I'm trying to get at. The goal of the master plan, whatever, what we're supposed to.
Purpose. Framework for future growth and development of the community. Outlines the desired future growth and land use in the community. Periodic update to the master plan or opportunities for the planning board to evaluate current community needs, desires pertaining to the changes in land use and related topics. Following state law RSA 674:3 recommends updates to the master plan every 5 to 10 years.
So based on that read, it's land use, protection, conservation, which we have wetland, we have town green space, those kind of things. And if we stick within that mission statement, a lot of, as we talk, a lot of the stuff in here is related to budget, school, other things which
We
are
can
not
we
under
can
our
strike
purview.
those, yep.
Okay.
Okay. So, can I try something?
Sure.
And starting at what I think is page 1, it's
Denied.
not numbered. The, number 1, to what extent do you agree that the following attributes significantly contribute to making Newport desirable place to live? Taking out the word significantly, and then also taking out all of the strongly agree, neutral, disagree, all of that out for all of the questions. Let them answer just simply yes or no, without having to put strongly, neutral, disagree.
What I did is to put it as you either agree, you're neutral, or you disagree.
Okay, those three,
So that'll,
okay?
you know,
So, does anybody here disagree with changing those
To that pre-selection
to those
instead of,
three? I'm all for it.
Sounds good.
Okay. And do we agree getting the word significantly out of there?
sure.
Okay. Then village centers with New England charm? No. We got them. How would you create another one anyways?
You really can't.
So anybody disagree with a no?
unless you're trying to say, hey, can we turn the common into an apartment building, or something like that,
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you- the small town atmosphere, I'm sure you can
And-
keep that, because people want, then people can say, do I want to industrialize, or do I want,
Yep.
to keep my small town?
Okay, I agree that's a yes, yeah. Scenic vistas of lakes, where we're gonna drive to? Mountains and
That-
open spaces are all around
What
us.
they did when they reevaluated the last time when we did this is they were talking about the Sunapee State Beach and our interest in that area.
Yeah.
But,
What, owning that area?
huh?
What interest in that area? Like owning it?
No.
No, interest in our using it. It's the only place
It's
on the
beyond
lake
our,
you can
it's
go.
beyond our jurisdiction.
Right.
But
Yeah,
that's-
and if everyone said, yeah, we want to use it, you
But the
can.
state has control of that, and we have input to the state.
And you're allowed to use it. Anyone's allowed to use it.
They're talking scenic vistas, though.
No.
Going to the state is not a scenic vista. So I'm no on that one. Next one is availability of a mix of housing types for all income levels. That's an obvious yes. Good schools, an obvious yes. Friendly people with community spirit. How do we govern that?
What do you, with good schools, you mean you want to leave it in?
I mean,
Because, are you gonna get
It's like
input?
saying, do you like strawberry shortcake?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say,
Does
so
it
why
need to
would
be
you
asked?
leave, so you're taking that out, right? You're not leaving that in as a question?
Yes.
Because what is someone gonna respond, no, I want bad schools? Why would you ask that question? It's redundant. I've never heard anyone say,
It doesn't
no, I prefer,
clarify
I would
anything for us.
like you to incorporate bad schools into Newport.
Okay, so you want to take schools out of there?
I'm just saying, isn't that
Yes.
redundant if you're
Yes,
trying?
because of my affiliation with that board, I've got to vote yes.
I'm just saying that's redundant. You wouldn't even want to hear back from, I'm sorry, that would write, no, I would prefer to have bad
All
schools.
right, we got many questions to do, let's make a decision.
That's just my opinion, but that was an opinion.
Friendly people with community
Under the overall heading
spirit.
of a master plan, wouldn't that be part of the town's master plan? The schools are a big part of the
It
town.
is, but you asking, absolutely, so would you take in consideration a portion of the population saying, I want poor schools to be implemented?
I don't think anybody's gonna answer that.
So that's why I'm saying it's moot.
Schools aren't even in
Our purview,
the mission statement.
right, so that's why I said remote,
I
right,
Land
honestly think-
development.
I honestly would advocate for getting rid of items
everything.
Does the school?
1,
Bert,
2, 3, and skip to 4, where we get into community land and economic development. Item 5, community land use. We're getting in the crux of our
Skip the whole
mission.
page, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Skip 1, skip 2,
Throw.
skip 3, let's go to 4. Would be my
Absolutely.
my recommendation.
Oh.
Where we get into the meat and potatoes of what we do as a planning board.
Bert, does the school have its own master plan?
say that again?
Does the school district have its own master plan?
Yeah, get rid of Bert.
Yeah, it's,
Aside from special missions.
Oh, okay. Special undercover acts.
Yeah.
No, those are over, not covert.
So you jump to 5,
I want to go to 4.
or 4?
Community land use and economic development.
Okay.
Like the first one in the box, in the chart, develop green spaces in the downtown area.
Okay, you've lost me on page numbers. That first one is page
No,
1.
There's
number
two-
4.
there's two per
Look
lot.
for number 4.
Say
Bullet 4
5.
up here, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I mean, you could leave in, the estimated population growth.
So we should reframe that number. It's
Yeah,
estimated that Newport's population has increased 4.1 between then and then. We should put in the new numbers to do.
Yeah, we need new numbers on that.
what does the population growth have to do with the questionnaire?
So we can figure out what we got to plan for. If all of a sudden it turns
Just
out all of these
updated.
New York and New Haven, Connecticut's and Hartford, Connecticut's people are moving up here buying homes and houses start springing up, a good case of this is,
If we could see the
The-
bar graph from 2008 to 2021.
I
You
guess
can
all I'm
see-
saying is for the survey, because the people who live here, whether they've moved from New York or whatever, would be in essence filling the survey out.
you're asking them to make a plan for the future, right? And that plan for the
Yeah.
future is based
Well,
on what? We got people coming in here
And
left
that,
and
res-
right.
and that response dictates some of the answers as to the questions as you go through it.
And honestly, because of where we fall anyways, we can get more solid numbers since we just had the US just did a census, so
Yeah,
you
you
can
would
do
hope.
2010 to 2020.
Yes.
What kind,
But 1 million people
So
have
it's-
died from COVID.
So it's asking whether you want to continue to grow, remain neutral, or oppose and limit potential growth.
So who has control over preventing this place from growing and from people moving
By
here?
restrictive zoning,
Yeah.
and planning, by saying no, no, no.
No subdividing land?
Well, no.
Well, you can't say no.
When we went through North Newport, we wanted to update the zoning regulations.
Yeah.
It met considerable opposition,
If you-
but forward-looking growth could be severely impacted by that kind of comment.
Sure.
If you want to stop growth, you do what Lyme did, minimum building lot, 50 acres.
Right, there you go. Okay, good. Yeah, leave it in then.
So,
That will
if they-
work. That would work.
The 50 acres?
If you
Yeah.
think you could get that approved
Unless
through a town vote,
unless it's
which,
deemed contingent with the surrounding properties. If you
Yeah,
buy
that-
a
you-
1,000 acre farm up there, you can't break it down smaller than 50 acres in a piece. And it's already gone through the courts and it worked.
I mean, 5 acres in this town would be pretty restrictive.
Oh, yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the rural zone, there should be that, and there isn't. It's true.
All right, I'm all set on 4.
Yep, 5.
So to
5
say-
is the list below, right?
But I think within 4, 5, the same thing, in the headings in the boxes, we just go with the 3 that we had before.
Yep.
Yeah, you want, like, develop more employment opportunities and expand as a local commercial and professional service center. Well, those go together, so we really don't need all of that.
Definitely, like the first one, develop green space,
Yeah.
that's a leave-in.
Yeah.
Maintain rural character, I think that's a leave-in. As far as from a planning board perspective, that's what I'm trying to look at.
Is someone writing up a master on this, the edits?
Yeah.
We're just putting,
All your notes, okay, good, because I'll then take it so I can redo it.
Attract more tourist-related businesses? Yes.
So the first 3 we're gonna leave. Maintain a rural character.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's a conscious choice. That's gonna keep your downtown compact.
Attract more outdoor recreation-related businesses. Limit further commercial development's gotta come out of there. Without growth, you die.
Same as the
Yeah.
next one as well.
But doesn't that mean you're not asking for the town's input?
No, because you have the expand, as, you know, you got the commercial and professionals.
We are a
Commercial
planning
areas.
board, not an extermination board.
Okay.
Yeah, the only 2 questions are status quo or expand moving forward.
And encourage development of seasonal residences. You really can't do that because we have nothing to be seasonal about.
Well,
We have no lakes, no ski area.
at the price of gas, right? They can't all live in Sunapee. So no matter what, they're gonna have to come here and we'll have a bus service to take them to the beach.
There you go.
I've got to point out, social media the other day, someone asked about using the Dora Lagoons as a swimming area.
Go for it.
Outdoor
Exactly.
recreation.
Yeah.
That's why you don't go on social media.
Now,
If you haven't heard
there
that
are
before.
turtles there. So that should, that should be a clue. If the turtle is there,
Turtle can live there,
It's
yeah.
livable.
I don't,
Did it have 3 heads, or?
But if you shine a black light on the turtle, does it glow?
No,
It won't glow. I was joking.
so we were on the seasonal residences, and I think that would, we should not discourage somebody who's seasonal. There's, in most cases, there's no children that have to be educated, but yet you still get the tax bill.
Neighborhoods with walking and social interaction. We have that now. I mean,
No, I think we leave it.
That's
I
in the
think we
one,
leave
isn't
it.
it?
You wanna leave
That's,
that?
You leave it.
no, that gotta come out, right?
No, I think you leave it.
it's something we've
You
got.
don't want neighborhoods that are social.
Right. So the question is, do you want it, or do you want to wipe it out?
I mean, to me, that question is also sidewalks, you know, do you
Right.
want
Like
roads
to
with
promote
sidewalks?
sidewalks.
I think it depends on your neighbor.
Sidewalks promote safety,
Yeah.
considerable safety, if you have the money to continue.
It also encourages walking and social
And
interaction.
absolutely, which is a health benefit. I do believe there are potential developments going up that are trying to create like a Sugarbrook subdivision that would be a neighborhood with, they don't happen to have sidewalks, but that kind of, I think that Newport could potentially see more of those if, you know, if people wanted it, I guess.
Okay.
So I think the last one needed to be amended to internet, not cable television.
Like,
High-speed internet.
do you want, or do you want to just take, is that a planning board purview?
It's growth, I think.
Yeah.
It's fine. And it's in the right heading here, so.
Because the high-speed internet helps you in bringing people here to do their job.
Especially if you want
To work from
people
home or.
working here.
And
Yeah.
so they come here for the country, whatever, and do the city's work.
Okay.
Item 5, I like both questions. I just think we ought to limit the categories. as we did before.
Cut it down to 3.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we pretty much decided to limit the categories for everything, didn't we?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then item 6, I guess it's getting specific.
What is heavy manufacturing? Is Ruger heavy manufacturing?
That's a good question. It's relatively,
Because
Light industrial.
if you're making, if CAT comes here and you're making excavators
That's
and
heavy manufacturing.
Or is it a steel fabrication plant or something? That would be heavy.
Yep. But would we refuse such? Because right now, even doing heavy, the EPA controls
Could this,
everything you do.
could
So-
this be shaped to just say, which of the following business services would you like to see? And then just check the box of, if you had 3 or 4 options, just check the box. Would you like to see most? Which is what I would say, would you like to see most? And give them, manufacturing, convenience store, mini storage, right?
or maybe you just,
Could just put it in as rate 1 through 6. Most favorite to least favorite.
Yeah, I was just going with the check the box. So, just,
Yeah,
if you got 5 boxes, check 3 of them or something, right?
There you go.
Would you like to see this, or?
Yeah, well, like I said, which would you like to see
Yeah.
most? Give them a cookbook of 5.
what do you see? It continues?
Well, now, yeah, but it goes into, so like I said, if you took that entire list and just gave them
The boxes.
the boxes of 5, some of these group together in,
Right, it seems like really, right.
Can I,
is it entertainment? Is it, food industry? Is it convenience stores? Or, give them 3 or 4 and say which ones in them all.
can I speak against that?
Sure.
Okay. Beggars can't be choosy. We have right now, our tax rate increases that we're going to have. And that is kind of like driving the car with the brakes on because you don't have enough industry to employ the people and to pay the taxes. So I'm going to say beggars should not be choosy. Anybody that wants to come to town ought to be welcome because, one, we will regulate how they build, and emissions, noise pollution, and all of that is now regulated. If Harold LaValle decided he wanted to put up a business different than building supply, manufacturing a different type of house that, whatever, we wouldn't say no. I don't think there we want to be choosy.
Well, I don't think it necessarily says we have to be choosy. It does say that, okay, if we get strong feedback to say you're heavy manufacturing, that people, want to see those type of jobs come in. Well, the town, we can do things as a town to encourage it. Like what you talked through earlier, for people, buying land and developing. We can do things to encourage things or discourage. We don't have to set, now, if somebody wants to come in and open up a shop, we don't have to say no, but we also don't have to go out looking for that kind of industry.
Okay. I have a problem with the connotation of the question and the denotation of the question. It sets a mindset of what is heavy, and it isn't clear. We don't want an old-style foundry, but you can't build an old-style foundry now. We got a foundry in this town already.
I agree that, like, the
And-
light and heavy need to be clarified.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's lesser.
Why don't you just say manufacturing?
Yeah.
Right, I think
And
it's
yeah, who
lesser
cares?
groups, but if somebody took the master plan, we used to have a business development person here. If they were taking the master plan to go out and entertain developers or something to bring industry, where would you focus? This is what the townspeople want, that would be a good place to start. I guess is where I would frame this question.
Yeah. Like, Okay, do you want the small scale farms, or do you want the adult-oriented businesses, you know? I mean, I think I know which direction most people would go around here, but.
What is a cottage?
So, yeah, I don't even, yeah, that's a 50/50. That's,
Cottage industry?
Yeah, that's Lavalley building.
It's on the list.
I don't know
No,
it
cottage
is.
industry is work, as it says, work, home occupation.
Story. You got it, they didn't catch it.
Inside jokes.
You meant the construction of cottages? Is that the cottage industry?
Well, yes.
Yes.
Well, no, what we did on the little accessory buildings out back,
Oh, right.
so.
Okay, we
That was-
done with that one then? For the,
Yeah, I think we can
Yeah.
continue to refine the list, would be the, just.
Is there anything you want to remove off the list? Like, I do think it gets slightly detailed, like, or combined, like, I don't know, it does seem,
resource extraction sand pits,
like,
we're about built out on those right now.
like, couldn't you just say farms instead of small scale, large scale?
Well,
I
you
don't.
could say agriculture.
Yeah, and then you even have horticulture in there. Could you say agriculture/horticulture and make that one
Like I
line?
said, I'm advocating for a short list of,
With
maybe it's
these.
8 or 9. And
Right.
you just, they check off which ones they'd like to see the most, and we go from there in vague terms, without getting this specific.
Retail shops and shopping centers, it's pretty, you know,
Yeah.
shopping
Well-
centers are
Yeah.
retail shops.
Right, like it seems,
Yeah, but individual shops like
Yeah.
Main Street or shopping centers like, which would you prefer?
Well,
but the shopping
Because the
centers
last
are
time, we
retail.
wanted to stay away from strip malls.
but I'd tell you, you know, my experience in Germany, the Main Street here, it's called Walkplatz. That's their outdoor mall. You know, it's a bunch of stores, you can walk down.
Right, it would be
through and-
considered a shopping center, because they're attached stores together, which is kind of what across from Shaw's is. It's retail stores, but it is what we call a strip mall. It's still just a bunch of retail stores.
Right, I think the biggest differentiation, I would like, if you put on, I mean, you got gas stations, but it would be convenience. Quickie Mart or whatever the right term is. We have a bunch now, do we need more, you know? As we talked about when we were looking at North Newport, that would be a viable location. But
So
anyhow,
people didn't want me giving any editorial on this or trying to come up with what you're thinking. So you guys have to exactly cross off or add
That's
what you
we're-
want.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, okay, you've got that. Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because I wasn't going to try to
I still think
surmise.
we'll need to take our notes back and surmise them.
You could, absolutely.
What I was gonna do is.
And if I do anything wrong,
I'm doing this one now, I'm gonna give it to her, and she can regroup it, we're gonna look
You
at
could do it
it.
again.
Then
We
that'll
could-
And
be the
then see
draft.
if there's something we
Draft,
want to either
yeah.
add or take away.
Yeah.
Maybe
Could go-
Or reword.
You know,
Yeah.
okay.
Or reword, or right. I could, okay, good. That's all I want to know, is that I'm not going to change
So
anything.
down,
unless you tell me.
we're at shopping centers, do we want to keep retail shops and shopping centers?
I'd cut one
Or
out.
just cut them, cut one?
Or just, why can't you say retail/shopping centers?
Retail shops, we've been losing them. Amazon, et cetera.
I know.
Of course, we would welcome them, but does that work in today's?
Why don't we just take out the shopping centers for now?
The shopping centers are, you know, if you're talking mall-type setups,
But I
you know,
mean-
they're dying faster than the retail stores.
Restaurants,
Restaurants,
I'd leave that in.
yes.
lodging, bed, breakfast, hotels, motels, there's still room to put some. Small scale farms,
I would just say farm, agriculture.
Yeah.
And I'd get-
Those three
Yes.
combined.
Yeah.
Agricultural rather than the small scale farm.
Agriculture and
Or the
horticulture.
large scale.
For those three, combine
Yeah.
those three.
all three,
Those three.
just
Yeah,
and
we-
go to horticultural?
Agriculture,
Yeah,
horticulture.
I mean,
driving
agriculture.
through town.
I couldn't tell you. Is it a certain number of acres, like you say, is it, you know, that you have, you know, 500 chickens or?
Racetracks,
How about, we had one here in Italy where they have the running of the bulls down through the center of town and people come from everywhere to see them.
I can imagine.
That'd be amazing.
We got enough of the result, if we don't need any more of that, so.
So
That's the guy comes under outdoor recreation.
racetrack.
Racetracks should go under outdoor,
Yes.
combined. Well, that one too.
Yeah. Running the bulls.
Racetracks can be combined with outdoor recreation.
Okay, we'll put that in with the running of the bulls.
Large-scale animal farms, we on that?
Yeah.
We
Racetracks
combined-
now are gone, we combined it
It's
with
ju- it's
outdoor.
agriculture. Then horticulture, yes. Racetracks,
I'm gonna combine that with outdoor
Yeah,
recreation.
outdoor recreation, skeet shooting, mini golf,
okay.
racetracks, all that stuff. So that racetrack square is gone.
Personal services, certainly.
Laundry, hairdressers and such, we got,
Couldn't that be combined in your retail?
Well, that should
Maybe
be-
not, maybe not.
We should strike cottage industries.
Now, skeet shooting is a noise,
Yeah, but we have a civil noise ordinance, so no need to talk about that.
Racetrack is noise too.
I've been through that.
but you have a grandfathered noise in town,
arts and crafts,
which
that's really not land use, but
the New Hampshire Supreme Court ruled that if it was there when you bought it, you live with it.
any input on the arts and crafts, should we leave it or take it away?
I think we leave it.
Okay. Adult sexually oriented businesses. We need a red light district somewhere?
I think that can go in with arts and crafts.
Or outdoor recreation.
Oh, yeah, it could.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
There's lots, you know.
There is laws about that, okay, well, not if we change our zoning.
I really wonder what the response was to that in the first one that went through.
Tell you. I don't know if I can find it right off.
I think, well, even a 7 and 8.
I'm
we can
thinking it can get broken down to, you know, whether you're married or not, and then, if you're under a certain age.
I don't like 9. no.
Other attributes, please list
Leave 7
here.
and 8.
I think we leave 7 and 8 and strike 9 out of here.
You'd be surprised how many people put strongly disagree, and then neutral on good schools.
Whether we have.
Out of 173 responses, 40, 53, 63, 81 people, almost
10,
half.
Other than,
You gonna strike all of 9?
I don't.
When you ask them that way, you're also,
You have a
they're
child
interpreting
care
it as,
deficiency.
do you want to spend more money on
That
it?
is trying to be addressed, but
Well, we could,
Well, regardless of that, I think
I haven't
it's,
seen
I
anything
think
that
it would be
child care would
unacceptable.
fall under.
So,
Businesses there.
Personal services.
Okay, here's your answer.
Child care has to stay.
Each respondent could choose only one of the following options. 92 disagreed, strongly disagreed, 31 disagreed,
these two.
32 were neutral, 9 agreed, and 4 were strongly agreeing.
on adult sexual
On the-
orientation, yeah, okay.
So we'll see if that changes, if you want to leave it in there.
But does that include massage parlors?
Absolutely.
Who said absolutely?
Me.
Okay. We're that far, we're almost done.
Yeah.
You know, normal masseuse, that'd be under personal services.
That's right, that's
No.
true. It would not be under sexual, adult services.
Unless you started getting into some of those ones you run into in cities and stuff.
And I do think that's illegal.
So we're going into downtown areas of industrial development. I think we've already hit industrial development. Or do you want to just see where they want to
I
put
think
them?
7 and 8, they're fine by themselves. We just limit the categories
Yeah.
and get feedback.
Yeah.
Could we combine those?
Well,
To have it just as one question?
the question on
You
the
could just say
industrial,
development, period.
Right, like, do we need question 7 and 8?
Yes.
Well, this is talking specific areas though.
right, because it's
Industrial and
north of 11,
commercial, two different
Right,
things
'cause we
now.
only have so much industrial.
north of 11 and 103, we already did that.
So should you add the definitions of industrial and commercial?
Well, they're in the zoning.
Right, but I just think most people wouldn't know the difference.
You mean like in parentheses or whatever?
Yeah, I think if you're gonna leave the question.
Commercial is any entity made to make money, but
So what's industrial?
industrial is a manufacturing,
They're there to make
unit.
money too.
yes. But
They're both,
you can be commercial and not making it.
It's,
You got the
and you,
Car lots.
Kellyville, you've got.
then you could be
Pool.
industrial and not make anything.
well, it's 11 and 103.
No, industrial is making something, it's a factory.
Oh, you
Making
mean literally,
something.
oh, I thought you said making money.
No, no, no.
Oh, I see.
All they do is make money. Commercial just makes money out of something already
Made.
from the
Industrial makes
industrial
things.
development.
Okay.
I could live with combining the two and just say development. And have the, because they're the same quadrants, basically in town, and just say, where would you like to see development?
Well, you gotta.
Commercial slash-
Commercial or?
I just-
Slash industrial. It
Just trying to
seems,
get
it's,
response.
no one's gonna know the
I just
difference.
think development.
No one's gonna know the difference, yeah.
You could say growth and
They
development.
might
Yeah.
know, they might know the difference, but they won't care.
Or it's so synonymous, whether you have someone,
Development, period.
right, bottling the Pepsi or actually making the Pepsi.
If you
Or
ask
that
her,
is
if you ask
industrial.
her if she wants a car lot next to her house, or somebody making, you know, car parts,
It's
she's not gonna care which.
one, she's gonna say no.
Right, but
Exactly.
if you, so we only have so
I
much
agree,
industrial
I agree.
right now.
I think they're so close for
If
most
somebody
people.
wanted to do industrial but in another area,
Well, why
is
don't we,
it worth pursuing? You could get, you know, kind of get into, hey, it would be nice to consider industrial over here, yes or no, you know, that's all.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just trying to get it down to, you know,
Complete development, yeah.
to get it to
any
quicker
development.
answers.
You want people to respond without it getting too overwhelming.
That
I
whole-
kind of agree.
That whole group of downtown area, industrial really doesn't go well.
I think it's
So-
easier to get better responses just on development,
For the whole town,
just development, period.
without the four categories that are there. Just the town itself.
Well, I
You
think
would
just
like
do,
everybody to send it back, ask if people would like a limit on how many units can be in a building. Look at everybody.
What?
10,000.
Yeah, yeah, how many, you'll get
so anyway. I
from
gotta- I
your
gotta-
neighborhood, for sure.
Do we want to combine that into industrial commercial development?
I'm with Ken. The whole downtown area, the whole top to bottom of question 7 should be development.
I think 7 and 8 should be combined, and it's just, where in town would you like to see development, and here's your 4 choices. And that would steer the conversation we had. you know,
What
like I said,
are your 4
Okay,
choices?
okay, that's what I just said, but I
Well,
didn't
as
say the
defined
7
right
and 8.
here. These are your 4 choices.
North of Route 11.
Couldn't you just say industrial slash commercial development and only make it one question and the
That's
four
what I-
choices?
I just want to say development.
Development, nothing
Make it
else.
one question, and those are the 4 choices.
So
that
it
you
could be a
have.
housing development.
Just development.
Just
Growth,
development.
Development. right?
Growth, okay, just
Where do you want
development.
to go? North, south, east, or west?
But but the people that are, just say, in this quadrant, these people want development, but they want residential, they don't want commercial. Over here,
Well,
they don't want
So that-
residential, they want commercial.
So that's where you get the 3, we're still gonna have the 3.
Yes, but it's
Agree,
just gonna
neutral,
say yes
disagree.
and no, but it's not gonna say whether or not you want industrial,
Right.
commercial, or residential.
Right, but by filling this out, right, if you say commercial, where do you want to see growth? You agree northeast, you disagree southeast, okay, you can
Right.
focus energy, that tells the
But you
planning
gotta,
board,
but you gotta
focus
leave it, you
here,
gotta
focus
leave
here.
in the industrial or the commercial, or industrial slash commercial.
Isn't that all
Yeah.
pretty well regulated under our zoning now?
It would be possibly potential
No,
to
you can-
change
The
that
zones.
based on the
Change
information.
zoning, but
Well, you-
that would be unusual.
But going back, like I say, you're trying to poll people to get feedback of,
Whether they want
And maybe it's
development or not,
potential change or
regardless
not.
of what it is.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is and where it is.
Keep it general.
Do you want the town to grow or die? That would be a better question.
I mean, say somebody up on Barton Whitney Road, way up at the top, buys this big field, wants to put in a manufacturing plant or something, by variance, special exception.
General
is it
question,
worth
development.
kicking that down the road? If they're
Okay.
gonna bring in, if Ruger wants to put another plant over there.
Where in Newport
I
would
think
you
we're
like
gonna
to
try to work
see
with it.
development? Question shop. Well,
Right.
And that,
And let's start there, and then we can kick it down.
seven-
Yeah,
that
come-
takes-
come
that
back.
takes care of 7 and 8.
Yeah, now we're into 9, which is, childcare,
Childcare
Is
should
socially
say,
and environmentally responsible businesses. That's, you don't get a business that isn't, because that's what they're looking for their money.
So on,
Department of Environmental Services handles all of it.
so on the left side, I put an asterisk to keep quality and affordable childcare as a question, and then at the very bottom one, the rest
Where
of
you
them, I don't need. And then on the right-hand side, there's
Whoops, new areas, was that
One, two,
the one you were
three.
referring?
yeah,
the last one, yeah.
areas, yeah.
Quality of that.
That
yeah.
one and this one,
New areas,
and new areas, strike the rest on that side.
okay, yeah.
And then over on the right, keep the top 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one. And the last one's been debated because. they've
Economic
done their
development,
surveys,
which
no.
we have that capacity
Right,
now.
yeah,
Important
so
that we
we-
can grow and grow.
The last one is just an opinion.
Right, and that's been kicked around a bunch lately with the push to get the rec center. but-
Right, but the,
So you want to get rid of development of undeveloped rural areas? Is that what you?
Yeah, I was not carrying that one on this question. That's
Access
me,
to
that's
Sunny
just me.
State Beach is an important
I-
recreational resource for the town. That was one of the things that they
I
wanted.
get rid
most
of,
people
I
wouldn't go no on that because they don't want it in their backyard?
What's that?
Development.
I don't understand what that means. You guys have access regardless if you want it or not.
Yeah, but I
Right.
think this is pushing a bus or something, a shuttle
Oh.
or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, those were the ones that I kept of this, there's so many.
I agree with the
Yes,
first
I
three, but not the last one at the bottom. The first three, yes, but
I
the,
can go either way, I'm not.
but the recreation.
This one here, Newport recreation one.
Question's been
Been beat
asked
to death.
several
Been
times.
beat around.
We
We know the answers.
Yeah.
The BOS is addressing that
Every-
again too. They're putting out a
Yeah.
survey about rec department in its entirety.
We're about ready to ask, them- on recreation, we're about
Because the
ready to
answer-
ask them a question that they've already answered.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So how about the one above? So this one, maintain zoning that allows small lots, minimum 1 acre in rural areas. That's kind of limiting, right?
That is,
That was why I didn't want to carry that one.
maintains
Well,
zoning.
right now, if you don't have water and sewer, you get, what is the minimum?
I actually
The
think,
minimum lot size that you can do right now is 5 acres without a
In
septic,
rural?
without a septic approval.
no. No, you can go down in the rural to 40,000
40,000?
square feet without water and sewer.
DES
Without-
won't allow you to do it.
That's not us though, that's our zoning, I'm not talking about DES.
But our zoning was done before DES changed the rules.
DES can approve a septic system on less than 5 acres.
Yes, based on a test hole that passes.
Yes,
Right.
but we should up our land requirements are rock bottom. In other sense, you can piece this Newport up eventually to little bits throughout the entire thing. That's what I'm stating.
Yeah, and you'll
We
look
have
like New
no
York
base
City.
requirements. You could, right now, we do have big swaths. If you will see what's coming in front of you guys, the little squares are popping up everywhere. In other words, massive development is going on typically non-commercial. I believe it's mostly residential.
It's big size.
Everyone is subdividing and the rules are light in this town. There are virtually no restrictions to subdividing. In rural too, I've had problems with people owning such small property and there's no restrictions on animals on those properties because they're in the rural zone that allows farming. It's frightening to see. And the only way it can be maintained is the state coming in to say that this is offensive, that it's harmful to the animals. Because we don't have any rules.
Yeah, but there's also RSA 487, I think, can't make a rule.
And you also have the
To not do agriculture.
Department of Safety,
They do, they're overseen, but that's what it's come to for some of these rural.
because right now they're already running into problems with salmonella and stuff like that
Rural-
on some of these because of the overpopulation and bad handling.
The land requirements for the rural zone, I think, should be looked, I think they should be ticked up a little.
We gotta do something.
So do you want to change that, make it a 5 acre?
I just think that you could ask the question and see, just for, it would be interesting to see it, but I find it that you guys have
stay on
very
our
low standards.
preservation of
You
the-
let everyone chop everything
R2,
up.
you want to be bigger.
But
I think.
if you're looking at somebody who wants to build a small house or a mobile home, you want them, workforce,
Absolutely.
you want them. So if you give them 5 acres of land, if it's assessed at $10,000 an acre, guess what?
They might not be able to afford it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the purchase price and the taxes
That
after.
goes up. Absolutely.
Right.
I agree
So-
with that. That's a consideration. All I'm saying is, it can go very low in the rural, it could go below an acre. Not that you'll get a septic.
And the only way to get below 5 right now is to have a test pit done.
And everyone's doing them.
Oh, yeah, you can put a raised
Everyone's
system
doing
into anything. You can put them on a
Systems
bog
come
if you
a
want
long
to.
ways, huh?
But it's just a consideration. I agree, housing is a huge issue for the whole state in Newport alone. You want people to have houses. I just,
Right, but
you
can't
can't
destroy
chop up Newport at this
Well,
point.
this
so what's
is
the-
just
what's-
to ask, why
Yeah.
don't we just put in 5 acres and see what the response is? If
That's
they
what I-
don't like it,
Yeah,
then we
they
don't
would say
take
no,
it.
you'd get your answer.
All right,
Right.
but there's one other, there's a downside here. So you put 5 acres and you force people to go into housing like Spring Street or out there by Mora.
I mean,
What you can afford, you give up your home to go in somewhere else because you can't afford the home.
Or you could
Or
ask
you
the
sell it to get your equity out. So,
Or you could leave, either way you leave it at the 1 acre or the 5, in theory, based on their answer, strongly agreeing or strongly disagreeing, would give you the answer to either question, right?
most
Yeah.
of the
That's
people
what-
aren't gonna look at the lot size you're talking about anyways. They're gonna read maintain zones that allow small lots. That's as far as they're gonna
rural
interpret.
areas, yeah.
Yeah, that's
In
all
a
they're gonna,
rural area.
I mean, maybe
Which
it
again
should
is
be
not a-
Maintain zoning that allows large
Okay,
lots.
allows, take out small lots,
Allows 1 to 5 acre lots?
maintain zoning that allows
2 to 5.
minimum 5 acre in rural areas, and just see what happens.
And if they strongly disagree,
Then we leave
they
it alone.
know you want the one, what you have now.
And you can work at it.
Then you know what you want, what you have now, which is much smaller.
I mean,
That would-
honestly, I don't think most people even realize how, especially if they don't already own property, anybody that's just in town in an apartment or rents or anything, what's an acre?
Okay, so there we are on 10, which is of the following types of future residential development would you like to see in Newport?
I personally think 10 is fine, just
Just like
restrict
it is.
choices
Yeah,
in our box, which is rhetorical. But I think that's good information to have, all that.
well, it says where do you want it? It says
Yeah.
throughout town, downtown, rural,
You're restricting.
nowhere, and don't know.
So,
It's not.
which
the-
of the following? I
Yeah.
think, well, there again, reading it now,
Go ahead.
better.
aren't we taking that all out and putting in the other one?
I think this one is just which of the following, when you give them boxes to check, without any choices. Well, you leave all the choices, and you have one column that just says, fill in.
Which ones you'd like.
And get rid of everything else. Make it that simple.
Because, right, are people gonna be so specific to get into the
Yeah,
nuance?
Which type would you like? Oh, I'd like multifamily, I'd like this, and we're done,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go.
Against, neutral, or want, just like we have been.
I don't think we do that, we just
Take
check
this
the
all off.
ones you want. Yeah, so if you got, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's 9 choices. Check which ones you'd like to see. And go
check
from-
off the following types.
Yep. I think, but.
Yeah, you're missing one though.
What's that?
Let's see, multifamily residence more than 3 dwelling units. I mean, you've gotta have one that says over 50.
Well, more than 3 is over 50. More than 3,
It's gotta be,
all I'm saying is more than 3 could be 10,000. It's
Yeah.
anything more than 3, but I agree with you, it's
More
not
than 3
stating,
is anything over that.
it's not stating the larger
Yeah.
complexes. I know your point.
We beat that to death the last time we did that too.
Do you want to make that higher, what Moore is saying? Like, do you want, like, people typically are fine with multifamily residences. They're like 3 or 4, but do they want multifamily residencies that are like 50 to 200? I think that's what you were thinking, right? Something like that, because I don't think too many people are opposed to multifamily
Were you
home.
at the meeting of Spring Street?
Yes,
How many people were in here going for it?
no one. So that's what
Exactly.
Maura wanted
That
to
was like
put.
30.
So you already know the answer. That's why you don't think you need to ask it.
But that was, all the people that were there were on those 3 streets, not the rest of the town.
That's the rest of the town, right. So that's why, do you think asking the rest of the town, would you like to see complexes
So-
that would accommodate 50-plus
We're
residents?
missing a category here, adults only.
That, well, right, I know. No, it just was making a point of, she was saying it's kind of leaving out some of these larger structures that are thought of as needed in today's 2020. That weren't, did anyone think they'd get
It's like-
100 unit?
It's like the previous question where you changed cable TV to internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, did anyone think you'd get 100 unit senior alone?
How about, all right,
Housing?
how about if we put multifamily residents of more than 25?
Yeah,
That's a fairly good size
Well,
start.
how about under multifamily residential, you just in the parentheses put comma,
25,
apartment buildings.
kind of. Yeah, that's really what it is. It's apartment structures, apartment buildings,
Apartment
complexes.
Because you're talking 3 dwellings in one building.
It's
so
multifamily
At
and
that point,
it's, yeah. It's just expanding the definition to make sure, oh, that's what it is.
Multifamily
Yeah.
residences in apartment buildings? Or apartment buildings instead of residences? Multifamily apartment buildings?
Just multifamily residence, and then just say, more than 3 dwellings in one building, comma, apartment type.
They're gonna have to read too much.
That's okay. We'll challenge
the,
that.
the fact is, if you ask people, they're like, yes, I want affordable housing.
Then that gets you that gives you the
And-
92 units, right?
Because that's how you're
It's,
gonna get.
people don't realize that the rationale affordable. That's why it's the 92 units.
Everybody
Well, when they
can't,
read affordable, they automatically go to the
Yeah,
bottom, not
everybody
market
can't
rate
rent
or
5
workforce
acres.
or any of that conversation.
yeah,
That's where they go.
And the next one is manufactured mobile homes on individual lots, and then manufactured mobile homes on parks or courts. I'll leave that.
I think we should
Both.
definitely get rid of the word mobile. It's not used anymore, it's called a manufactured home. I find it slightly confusing.
Manufactured homes.
I find
They are
it,
single-family residents, huh?
Is what they build in Claremont.
Yeah.
And those are high-end houses.
nope, on your definitions, the mobile home has gone away as Newport states it, and they are now called manufactured homes. I find it confusing, because.
Yeah, I find it
the-
confusing. I've been in the business for 50
Right.
years, and our
The-
manufactured homes are done in Claremont, and they're brought to site, and some of them are
Those are
20 or
now,
30 boxes per unit.
I believe by definition, I believe
the
mobile
manufactured,
homes actually haven't been built since the 70s. They're basically a trailer, you got that have wheels on them and you park them. And they're 30, 40 feet
so
long.
they're wait a minute.
Single or
But you see,
double.
Yep.
No, I'm just
When you-
stating Newport has
Wait a
changed the
minute.
definition. That's all I'm stating. We don't have a mobile home definition anymore. So I remove it. But what you're talking about is just a home being built off-site and then being put together.
It's the same thing. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Let's get this clear, because a mobile home has wheels underneath it
That
for
can
it to be
moved.
delivered
Can be moved.
that are part of it. Whereas a manufactured home, it goes on a trailer that is not part of it.
Right.
It is a component of a building. So this whole building that we're in here right now, 3 floors of it, could be built as a manufactured housing.
Of course.
And come here and be put in place by cranes.
All I'm telling you is the definition of mobile home per the town of Newport is called manufactured home now. That's what I'm
Then
telling,
that's a
and I find it confusing.
irresponsible way of having it.
And that's what I'm saying. They've gotten rid of the mobile, I think, because maybe they thought it was a...
Because
I don't
over
know.
when, well, maybe just in Newport, but in Claremont, they just put in the mobile home. It comes in with tires and axles. They take the tires off, slide them underneath, the axles stay there. Manufactured home, you do not have axles on it. That's what I move.
I know. When we talk, I know.
Right there, mobile home. Structure transportable in one or more sections which exceeds either 8 body feet in width or 32 body feet in length, is built on a permanent chassis and is designed to be used as a dwelling without a permanent foundation.
Right.
Mobile home.
So what about
But the
manufactured?
boxes that you're building in Claremont, they're not on a movable chassis. They're boxes, they're put in place
Right.
permanently, they are not
Transported on a
technically a mobile home.
Do you have manufactured home
They are
in
a
there?
manufactured home.
We do not.
Nope.
We have mobile home.
What, on here, you got manufactured
Then you
slash
have-
mobile home?
Then you have
Not-
motor home.
He's just looking at
Oh, in there.
Are you in the 2019?
Yeah.
Oh, you're in planning and zoning. I mean, you're in planning.
Yeah.
That's what we are.
That's it. We who changed the definition. We can't change the definition without going to the town. We were told that.
Okay. Well, else you doing
Anyways.
that?
I would say that we segregate. It
Well,
may, it
the
may be a
difference-
racist
Well-
statement.
The only difference in here, I mean, a mobile home, manufactured mobile home on an individual lot is a single-family residence, except it's a mobile unit.
Unit, exactly.
That's the only difference between those two.
Right. Where his has a foundation,
The foundation and,
as
It's
opposed
permanent.
to a slab.
right, and then if you go multi-floors and everything, those boxes
They
don't
stack.
ever leave. They can't leave. They're not on its own chassis, you know, as this one states it. Permanent, it's built on a permanent chassis and designed to be used as a dwelling. Other than taking the axles off, it's... Anyways, so then we're on to resource preservation. And what would you do?
I wiped out the whole thing.
You did?
Yeah, because it all falls under conservation. Has nothing to do with them.
Well, although conservation is a subdivision of, subpart of planning board.
They're
Conservation,
their own.
No, they're not.
I'd just like to add, Conservation Commission is looking into developing an NRI, natural resource inventory, which can be used in the master plan and referenced to anything that, any plans that pertain to conservation, without
But
having
under,
to.
right, but under definition, the Conservation Commission is a subpart of the planning board. You know, honestly, so, because I was on the Conservation Commission,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to have your meeting, make recommendations based, you're supposed to get the submissions, the cases,
Yeah.
do a review, have comments or not, that goes to the planning board to be factored into the decision. And that's as much
I
as you
thought they
have.
were their own.
No, they are not.
Okay, so,
Needle and thread.
something to correct in this. When you look in zones, when you look in the definitions, you guys are absolutely right. It only talks about mobile homes. When you look in permitted uses, for example, a mobile home, is not gonna cause me really confusion. If you go purely by the list for the zones written by the town of Newport, no mobile homes are allowed within the rural district, which is not accurate. They are. They've changed the wording to call them manufactured. So obviously, we have to correct our definitions or correct our wording here. But it was I believe it was a change of the way people didn't want to use mobile, even though I know what you're talking about. I find it confusing because it means any home manufactured not on site, stick-built, we used to call it.
How about we do this? I have an idea.
Yes.
Why don't you go through there and pick out all of the discrepancies between them, bring them to us, and then we'll put an amendment for a zoning ordinance on
The change.
for this coming year to get it done.
Change. Yes, but can you see though where it doesn't register mobile home in the rural?
I don't want to look at it.
You don't want to look at it. So it doesn't, so in essence, it's stating, if that's true, which I agree with you, it's stating that no mobile homes are allowed per our list. But that's, it's a definite, so we'll get it correct. It causes confusion.
Definition.
So what we'll do with the information you bring forward, we'll then
Amend,
do
absolutely.
the manufactured part so that we cover both bases.
Absolutely, I agree. And I do find it confusing. I've always found it, I'm the one that has shifted my wording to manufactured because it's,
Do you need a
It's
motion
here.
to do that?
no, I can bring anything to you for you to look at on something that I say this is confusing to people.
This one, we're just stripping it.
I will do that, Bert, just because I find it, okay. So I'm
leave it
gonna
all
address
whole?
mobile
I think we
homes.
do, because it is part of our planning board mission. The last, on item 11, we just changed the choices and leave it in there. As step one, and then we'll see how narrow we get this thing. We may be able to take some out.
Lakes and ponds. Mud hole. Constitutes a pond.
That is a vernal pool.
That's a vernal pool, okay.
Yeah.
It was made, you know.
It was there before they just disrupted it.
Well, cool, they.
Or we-
Okay. Almost ready.
Okay, now,
And that's gonna be the top spots.
this is so outdated. I just put two and two together and came up with something.
What's that?
On number 11, would you support preservation of the following resources in Newport? Go down to Sugar River Corridor. Most people do not know that the Sugar River is a fourth-order stream. That means from the high water mark, 250 feet each side, is controlled by the Department of Environmental Services. In the first 50 feet, you can do almost nothing. In the next 100 feet, you can remove trees, but leave stumps, have to leave stumps. Beyond that, then, and that gets even further than that, they can go as much as a quarter mile in a section that is vulnerable. So, for us to be asked the question, do you support preservation of it? You don't have to support it, it's there already.
Limited, yeah. Okay, I mean, we can strike out whichever ones we feel.
In the fourth order.
Right, in the this is really not our oversight. They're controlled regardless of what we say. You mean like the wetlands too?
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Like, why would we ask people for an option? That's not, yeah, they're
Right.
controlled.
Questions that we don't
Yeah, I
control.
mean, brooks and streams, you can't do much with.
You can't, oh, well, sorry, forget it.
Neither can you, lakes and ponds, you can't either.
You can't mess with wildlife or any of this.
Wildlife habitat, you can.
Well, if it's
No,
conserved land for wildlife?
Between,
There's
connection
No,
between.
preservation.
species Like the spotted frog or whatever that was up off of Witcher Road when they were doing the firing range, Christina.
So, yeah.
On conserved land, you mean, on conservation land?
Purge off this list
No,
what we don't
no.
think.
I mean, wildlife habitat doesn't have to be something
The
protected.
wildlife
It can be-
habitat, you
well,
know, endangered
That,
species.
that does, well, that, if it's endangered, that's. we
Yeah, you
can't
gotta
do
keep the
anything
cars
with it.
off the pavement
But
because the crows need it.
We can decide that, hey, this chunk of land over here, we want to limit the development so that the deer, you
Right.
know,
It's
have
more-
space or whatever.
So,
I thought it was
I wanted to
already
say that.
conserved land.
I thought, I said.
For
that
what?
should
let's
be
just start
something
with
for
which, let's
It's
pare
what
it
we
down to
want to
the ones
protect.
that.
Well,
you
that's
know,
what we got.
basically. Or
Historic
how we
buildings
wanna
and
focus.
sites, wildlife habitat, brooks and streams, we have no
take that
control.
out, Right.
Groundwater resources, we have no control over that. Other than.
Well, we
Aquifers.
do, because like the town well. in different
Aquifers,
areas.
Yeah, but they're
if you're above an aquifer.
They're protected
Oh, yeah.
by statute, so there's nothing we can do with that.
Nobody would even know, most people won't even know the Sugar River corridor if they read it. They'll know the Sugar River, but they won't
Scenic
understand.
views,
And it goes,
If the buildings are too tall, can't see them.
What scenic views are we gonna protect?
I know you're trying to get, I know you're trying to work it. I don't blame
You
you.
don't have this.
Well, so leave it in. You want your scenic view.
No, it's there.
Is this where we remind her that we haven't opened to the public?
without,
Yep.
Agricultural land, open
You
fields.
better fill this out.
Only
can I,
the,
can I make a comment so we
chairman
just don't
will tell
confuse
me that.
people? The Sugar River corridor that I just said, and I held my hands out 250 feet each side of the high water mark, right, doesn't apply in town. Because they already, grandfathered,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, it applies to
new building.
New construction.
all of the rest. And, well, in what you do, if you got a piece of vacant land and you wanna walk down to the water and you wanna put steps down to the water, you better get a permit.
Yeah, they're not gonna allow you to do that, down to the water.
Oh, yeah. they
There's
do.
no construction, like you said, virtually nothing within 50 feet.
It's no different.
You know how easy it is to put a dock in?
How hard it is?
No, easy.
How?
You go to the state, say, I want to put a dock in.
And they just allow it?
The town has nothing to say about it. It's the state
But the
regulated.
It's all state regulated.
I know that, but the state doesn't allow it. It's hard to do.
I went into Sunapee and wanted to put a 34-foot dock.
And they just said yes?
They said, yes, we can give you the permit today. I said, wait a minute. I said, we changed our mind. We want to put two 16-foot docks closer to shore. He says, no, you have to go through hearings for about 2 years. So guess what got put in?
The 34-foot.
8 foot wide by 34 feet.
But they just approved that on
Yep.
Sunapee?
That's right.
Why is that easy? I thought that was hard.
There are some well-defined rules,
Yeah.
working on
So if
lakes
you-
and ponds. and
So if you know, because
within
that's a
50 Within
huge
50
dock.
feet, they actually average tree size, you can take so much out. It's-
No, I
it's a
know
very
that.
specific
On
rule.
11,
thought-
are we leaving?
I thought moorings were
leaving
hard to
Sugar
get.
River and wetlands in there?
No, I've taken it out.
Yes,
Sorry.
is what it was, yeah.
So what we end up with is historic buildings, wildlife habitat, agricultural land, open fields, connections between conserved lands for wildlife, community appearance, I'm not quite sure how that fits.
How do you govern that? You know,
Well, what's the question? Would you
regulate it.
Community appearance.
We
Would you
want all
support
of
the
the-
following
Well-
resources.
Yeah, but I think that would lend itself to downtown, the town hall,
What kind of buildings do we
Oh,
want
you
to
mean-
allow?
keeping the facades versus.
Besides, I
I mean, I've
suppose.
seen it like in Boston, and I worked there a
Yeah.
long time, and you'd keep the facade and build a brand new skyscraper behind it, but the storefront would have the old facade.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, kept that would be appealing to me in a downtown.
Well,
Ridge
Yeah.
lines and steep slopes.
Well, that's kind of the question, originalize where you get into, do you want to put a windmill by the water tower? That would be original
Yeah.
view type thing.
Okay. And
You know,
steep,
or a cell tower or something like that.
steep
And when you talk,
slopes.
and you talk like the community look, you know, I think of a place I know of, is
We have-
Helene, Georgia, you know, where they're regulated to look like a German town, an old
Right.
German town.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like steep slopes, I think,
What kind
if
of
we
look?
have something down by Coit Mountain down there, and then have some ledges or whatever, that would be the only thing I think here.
And up on Ball Mountain, I suppose, but they're eating that down there.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
So let's start there.
That's a,
What,
oh, wait a minute. And then,
We gotta
what
do,
do you feel is the best feature of Newport? I crossed out, what features do you feel needs most improvement?
wait, are we on question?
17.
What,
Whoops,
We're on 12.
are you,
12, sorry, I flipped it over and I was on the wrong page.
could you, I would suggest this is a census oversight.
Yeah,
Census goes over where people, I don't think.
that's why I crossed it all out.
Oh, okay, good. And then I was just said today, because,
it's invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
your thoughts,
How long have you lived here? It's irrelevant.
your thoughts, Lee just made a comment today, because she's got a survey, and she said, the only thing I can say, because I think she knew you were reviewing these, is she goes, I would never have these open-ended questions. She goes, because then the time constraints of going through them. She'd either give like an A, B, like, you know how the other ones, we give A, B, and Cs, we can data.
Strike them out.
So either but it's up to you. So it's up to you. I just was gonna give you that input that it could be very time consuming for me to review.
How about we take out,
12, 13, 14, 15, 16 out.
Those are out. I was talking about 17 through
I
20.
would take the whole page out.
how about
I agree with
17, 18,
Take them out. This is where she gets in, that you ask a question, they're gonna write an answer. You
It
sift
gets,
through all that
it's
data.
cumbersome. It's,
All of them.
Do you have it,
It's all out.
how about just leaving in number 20? Do you have any other suggestions for this community service?
or what
You
about,
could leave one, I guess.
or what's most improvement, or most improved? What could we most improve? I don't know, well, you guys decide.
No, just give them that one item.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then that, yeah, I think that's the easiest, and, you know, I never thought about
Even,
that.
even then, the survey's over, so I mean,
So all of the rec people for a new building come out and vote yes because they're motivated, and the no people don't. So it gives you a false sense of where you are. I agree with leaving 20, but the rest gotta go out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the rest is census, which I could collect, I will collect some census data for us
Yeah.
to do the master plan. We should have our
Yeah,
2020.
let's start with that. and see.
age ranges.
So let me take Dave's, and then I'm going to do it exactly the way you wanted it, and then we can rip it apart again, or add or
I think
delete.
these are, I think there's only three of these, right? I think.
I'm gonna go by yours. And we always have our originals too, and I won't throw that. Do you want to keep this, Dave, and I just make
No.
a copy? Okay.
Put it on your computer.
Okay. Put it under your pillow.
That's where it's been, that's where it's all folded up.
Okay, I'm gonna take this and redo it. If I get anything wrong, we can change it, obviously.
We're still on board communication, or whatever?
We are on
Admin? We're on admin.
I think we're on admin, yeah.
Or whatever.
admin right now.
So, Christina, a suggestion, following up on our earlier this evening with the deeds thing. On the questionnaire,
There it is.
right, they have to complete the sheet
sorry.
to make the submission complete, right? And we have a checklist of what they have to complete.
Yes.
On that checklist, add a line that says, all
Pertinent,
pertinent
easement.
easements in the deeds have been addressed.
I
Make
think,
that a question to the applicant, and if they check off on it, at least it's a tickler for you and for them to say, is there something there, like this deed
Yeah,
restriction that would
yeah.
prevent this submission from being complete?
well, the interesting thing is, he did give me the deeds. But there's other ones behind, like you can, that's what's that's what is
But when something says in perpetuity,
in
it doesn't matter whether they follow it.
Right.
It stays there until a court says that that was not reasonable.
I absolutely, but me, like, that's why you could miss this, because you could pull up, like, especially a quick claim deed, they could write anything they want, they could leave off all the, like, people could write, and it gets registered, you don't know that 10 down, they've missed this
Right,
thing
but it also puts the burden back
on
the
them, yeah, which I do, okay, so I'm gonna check that, I'm gonna check,
Just add it to
add
the
it.
list.
We might already have it,
If we
On
don't,
there?
add it, if we do, then,
because that's
Strengthen it.
why
Yeah.
Tom gives them to me.
yeah,
Deeds, and,
I mean-
yeah,
a butter, what is it, others than assigns? I could use that.
Easements.
That's the legal.
It's my opinion that Tom should pick that up.
he stated, my opinion was we should have opened it to have everyone talk about it, Tom give his input, and then start asking for additional information.
No, I mean, like I said, we were having a conversation around a document that didn't exist.
Well,
We can't do that.
right, that's true, that's true.
It's just hearsay.
Yeah.
It's just, well, that was
I
hearsay.
mean, Bert did good work and found it, but
Right, I guess I was thinking maybe Tom could have given, forget about that document, because he didn't know. But what he thought is what I thought, that they weren't touching the untouchable. That's, I think, what he thought, that's what I thought, because everyone, right. But I agree, I fully agree. I'm gonna go look at our checklist and make sure that's on there, and,
And then the other thing I had was, we've lost the conversation about lot line adjustment.
No, I got it.
And now that I have a video where Bert agrees that annexation is
and
subdivision,
I know,
makes the conversation a hell of a lot easier.
I tried to get him to retract his statement, and he didn't, so I agree with you, Ken. We're now in a bigger fight, yes.
Well, and I still
Christina.
owed an update from Howard, I gotta reach back out to him. But he had done a little preliminary research, and he said annexation doesn't exist in the
It's,
book anymore.
why,
Even he
right,
was
it's
aware.
going
Oh, yeah.
away.
Yeah, so
What?
it's an update.
It's a lot line adjustment now.
And the way Bert framed it with multiple choices within lot line adjustment, I believe is the right way that we should be doing it.
under the subdivision category.
Subdivision,
You-
it's a lot line
That's right.
adjustment, but it's a very simple process that gets to the same ends, but it just calls it the right thing.
So whether you get, the true thing with annexation that I believe is that you started with the same lots as you ended with. That's now I know this word is supposedly gone.
It's 8:30, too late to start an argument.
I know,
on that.
okay, I agree. You know what, you're right.
As an agenda item in here.
You're right, I'm so
Chris-
confused.
Christina, what Ken was pointing out, the taste of your shoe is not good,
So I did want to ask
depending on
one.
where you've been walking.
Okay, so one thing I did want to ask, just quickly for my forethought, because have seen cases that then it goes to the zoning board later. And and I know it brought up for a good point that you don't want to be biased, but wouldn't then in essence, the ZBA, based on approving anything, would automatically bias you when it comes to you? And I've said, well, this has already been approved by the ZBA. Wouldn't that in the same way mean you're all been biased based on their affirmative opinion?
They're just okaying the use.
No.
They're dealing with their
They-
legal specific.
I agree with you, and you're dealing with yours. That's why I don't think you bias them and they bias you. It's supposed to be separate. So their approval cannot bias you. You approving first definitely cannot bias them because
Christine, no.
That-
We cannot approve something that doesn't exist. The
We have-
zoning board makes it exist, and then we can approve it, or disapprove
we
it.
have done it before, many times at a kid.
We need to stop.
Right,
Yeah.
because you've made a mistake, doesn't mean you got a right to make it again.
I don't believe those are incorrect. That would be in violation of anything. You could hold zoning board and
Zoning
ZBA and
board
planning board
permits it,
meetings
and
together.
We then regulate it.
All I'm saying is
it's
you can hold meetings together and no one is considered biasing the other by holding the meeting together.
Oh, that's correct, we can do that, yes, we
Yes.
can. Yep. Hell of an argument.
Well, but based on yours having a meeting together, based on what everyone is saying would bias the other.
Well, we were saved today by the applicant who said they've got time. So, but the right thing, if you read Winslow, it has to be clear, the jurors have to be as innocent as a lot of humanity will admit. And so that means just what it says. And that's Supreme Court settled law. So why would we even trespass? If zoning has allowed it, we can regulate it. But if they haven't allowed it, there's nothing we can do.
Okay, Ken,
Motion to adjourn.
we're not done.
And now if the
You
lawyer
have to
comes
go to
back,
I know, sorry, I shouldn't have, just a question.
We'll go, our next order of business, communications with the board.
oh, is that?
That was that.
That was
Sorry.
it, while we were out of
Well,
work.
can I ask you then, did you end up getting those traffic numbers?
No. I haven't.
Okay.
You're right, updated, and that was broached today by Herbie, that I had outdated traffic numbers. Thank you. Oh, boy. Yeah,
I'd have forgotten.
we should
Yeah,
have,
Thanks for the reminder.
I'll have to contact DOT. If I
Yeah.
can't find it myself.
Wasn't that in the
Do they have a
original-
website, don't
Wasn't that
they?
in the original submission?
I just went online quickly myself, and the ones I've seen have only gone up to 15, but that's me just searching very quickly on the web, and I haven't gotten any more. What original submission of what? By Spring Street
Yeah, I
applicants?
thought there was a summary in there from DOT that they had included.
Submitted a DOT
Yeah, they
statement.
had no,
They had a DOT statement,
Yeah.
but not a study was the issue.
They had a DOT statement on John Stark Highway,
I was just gonna say,
not on
not-
Spring Street.
Yeah, it wasn't
Spring Street, I'm
just,
sorry,
yeah,
it was-
it was just a conglomerate, overall
Okay.
picture of traffic.
So, but let me see if they have DOT numbers on our private roads, Newport's private roads.
I
Updates, that's right.
don't believe you're gonna find a state study on it.
Well, they've got them up to 2015.
For our private road?
Yeah, that's what I had, I
Town road?
attached,
That's why
yeah.
we asked about it, because they're supposed to do them like every 3 years, or something like that.
They had them pretty frequent.
Yeah, it was like every 3 years, and they had those, but
Little
then all of a
boxes.
sudden,
That's,
and then all of a sudden it stopped at like 2015 or
Huh?
something.
that's where I got the
I
numbers
thought
on our
the town
private,
was responsible for the town roads.
they, Right, I guess they,
Well-
yeah.
Not traffic studying or anything,
It was just the numbers that we'd been presented, so.
okay.
I'm gonna try to do this quickly,
Yes.
if I may. When you went over the study that they presented, that Avenue presented at your last meeting, that was not a traffic study, that was a traffic analysis, or it was something other than,
It was called, I just gave it to you. It was called a traffic, it says
Assessment.
traffic assessment?
assessment.
Okay, which is not a traffic study. They have like 5 different categories of traffic reviews, and traffic study is its own character, and it takes into account not just the numbers, like they took the numbers and did it from their driveway out onto Spring Street. They didn't take into any account on the intersections on either end of that road. A traffic study takes into account the impact of the traffic on intersections of the roads. It takes into effect pedestrian traffic, the safety of people walking in that area with the added traffic. There's a whole conglomerate that goes with a traffic study.
Where'd
That's
you
why I
get that
specified-
definition?
That's why I specified a traffic study. It's online, it's green light, I printed it out. So I know I guess we don't have to vote on it or anything to forward it, but it's not what we asked for. And we seem to be getting a lot of these problems, such as the lighting downtown
Yeah.
they're making changes,
Yeah, I don't know.
not asking if they can make the changes, and then coming back with a sob story saying, oh, we had to do this, can you please accept it?
And changing a light on a building is not a big deal.
Yeah. And then, you got Carvana, who added the lights out there, and, we just
It's just
seem to be
dollars
having these
based.
problems.
It's money-based, because a traffic study is probably cost.
Yeah.
I don't
Five
know,
times
I don't know where that
longer.
came from, so
Well,
I don't
traffic
know if there's any
Yes.
legal, I
But
don't
they've
know.
had 2 years while they were waiting for their funding, so they've had
I
plenty of time.
don't know if that, I'm gonna have to find a legal analysis of what
Well,
it means.
And there again, that burden,
But-
like we talked numerous times, is on the applicant
It is.
to meet that.
Do you?
Again, but what,
But
reading,
does,
but
now, if we
that,
ask for a traffic study, and an engineer comes in and said there is no need to do a traffic study.
he didn't say that, did he? Who did?
Yes, he said there was no additional impact.
Who's the engineer? Who's the engineer working for?
No, he said that
It
based
doesn't
on
matter
the
who
traffic
works for it.
study.
Still gotta go by his ethics. He can't give you incorrect information.
He's
Yes.
not giving us,
But
he's
you- but-
only
but the
giving us
reality-
limited information.
But the reality is, if you're a developer, you use this guy because he gives favorable things, and you find that, you seek that out.
Yeah,
It's,
and it's not what was asked
we,
for.
we should be doing it, but the problem is, and I'm gonna ask you a question. In your budget, do you have a line item for legal?
Town does.
Yes or no? You don't.
The town probably does.
It passes
no,
through
she
the
does.
town, doesn't it?
You used to have, and should have. Because when we asked this question, like the case we had tonight, the town manager can't say no. The board here has requested it,
Oh, absolutely.
okay?
Tip-
And he's gonna take that out of his budget, and he's gonna be reluctant to do so. So in your next budget cycle, which is coming up, you should have a line item in there for legal.
Personally, my opinion on that legal is Hardscrabble should have paid for it. That's my opinion, but you guys
Well, the applicant should
pay, well, you did
But-
that, you said the town
So
was.
as part of the, going back to the traffic study, I believe, in that initial conversation, remembering back, is the town can have the traffic study done by whomever they choose, paid for by the applicant.
Yeah,
That is correct.
No,
Absolutely correct.
yes.
right, I
And the
was,
reason for that is
And-
in my statement in the
We get
minutes,
what we want.
you
As a true-
don't allow the fox to design the chicken coop.
Agreed.
so based on what Herb just gave me, there's no legal basis behind what he just gave me. I would have to see some legal definition, so I can call the guy that wrote it and said, is this the same thing as a traffic study? Or can you please show me the legal definition of an assessment?
You could probably get the same
Do we
thing
have a
from New Hampshire
resource?
Municipal Association.
Right, all I'm saying is we could pull anything off the internet that says any numerous, has anyone seen something written legally of what, because it's like tomato, or manufactured home, mobile home. Is assessment and study the same, or is it truly not?
Do we have a Lakes Region or somebody resource that could answer the question?
That's potential,
If you were to get a traffic study, what would you get? If you were to get a traffic
yeah, assessment,
Is it the same thing?
right.
You know, just a very quick, that's a yes, no.
You know?
I
Wait a minute, call the guy who did the,
I'm gonna call him. That's what I was gonna say, is this the same? Is this considered the same?
Herb, the guy who did the assessment, call him and say, is this,
Who did he?
because he has a price for this and a price for that.
Did it for Avenue.
I agree, I just need a definition, and we could get 500 definitions off the internet that all differ. We need something legal, we need something that's written legally.
Wait a minute, this to me is simple. To boil it down, 40 to 1,
I
right?
haven't read the whole thing, I just got.
The motion was made for whatever, the words were, whatever. And then you call this guy up that did this assessment and
Go
said,
out there to read.
did you do this?
So all he has to do, if I say, we asked for a traffic study with no definition behind it, he could just change that word assessment to, okay, I'll write study. Do you see what I'm saying?
But it isn't study.
If it truly
If
isn't,
you look at what a study is supposed to be.
but do you have a legal definition of the word study?
I can only tell you what I found online. I didn't
Right.
go, I mean,
Yeah, you-
Let
you
me
didn't-
look
you didn't
into
find
it,
though,
and let me
on, like,
look
the
into
New
town
Hampshire
council doing a
website,
legal,
New
ass-
Hampshire legal.
You know, the state, you know, the
Like
state,
you said, Lakes Region, and just ask
Yeah.
the question.
yeah.
I mean, I will ask the question tomorrow of my friends in Hanover and get their opinion. As a peer, if you will.
No.
But that's why he put up such a argument the first time around, is because a traffic study is much more intensive, much longer.
comprehensive.
It's also
Yeah.
time weighted.
It just takes more money, more time, everything. And that's why he was pushing his memorandum at the first meeting.
Now, based on what happened with that, the ship maybe has sailed on even this, if this isn't correct. But let me try to figure this out. Because I agree with you, the wording is, there's also the word memorandum on there. It is confusing. I will call him, I spoke to him once to get clarification, so I knew that I understood what he was saying on there. No, regardless of what it is. I just wanted to know how he came to that. It's a nothing burger. I called him to get a verification on that.
But we are gonna have to get the outside opinion, it's right, I mean, he's probably gonna turn around and say, well, it's the same thing as a study.
From now
We're
on,
gonna
what
need the outside
what
opinion.
we should do is we should require it to be done and ordered by the town, done by us, paid for by the applicant. Take that right away. I got one more thing to say. I said I'd do the title search for you, and there's no need for me to do that now, because it's going to a lawyer.
Yes, I'm going to give exactly what they gave us
On the other issue,
to legal, yes, the two hard scrabbles, and have them decide if either, one, both, all, nothing, what can be done. Yes, no on all, no on all, yes on all, half and half. And I'll come back with that opinion either way.
before the case goes forward.
I'll try to get that before, right, that's what I said, I'm gonna go, and I'm not gonna, maybe can refer to him that we saw this here to just point it out, but yeah, let him figure it out.
Seems, I recall, it was 2 years ago, but I think the way it was left when we approved the thing eventually with the conditions, the condition was left that they were gonna hire their firm and have it approved by Todd.
Yes, that's what I recall.
Yes.
It was to be approved by Todd. That should be right in the minutes, in the
The
package.
choice of firms.
Right, so they, they were gonna do it, if they hired them, yeah, Todd was gonna approve the company. I
But it
remember
was
that.
to be a traffic study, which.
Right.
I agree, I kind of agree, but what, that's like exactly manufactured home, mobile home.
Yeah.
And we have, do you see, it's like, what is what? What is? Isn't that a thing? Can you define is? That's what I feel like we're doing. Right, so I'll first by just asking this gentleman, is there a higher level that's called a study than this assessment? And see even just what I get from that.
I'd frame it differently. I'd
How
say,
would
you gave us a traffic assessment, and we made a vote for a traffic study. And then let him
Does this
take it
mean
from there.
that, right, have you met that bar?
He
He said there is no difference.
Right, but on the
But
other
he-
side,
He
you should,
might
you
not.
need to find out for yourself from industry, trusted industry experts that we have that say, what should I be getting for a traffic study and or a traffic assessment? You can do both at the same time, but
I,
Absolutely, I'm just telling you, Upper Valley Lakes Regional, I might not be able to get that, that's all I was stating.
like I said, I'm gonna reach out tomorrow and I will send an email as soon as I get
Excuse me,
it.
I mean,
excuse me. What about that Gale Associates person?
He could, that's a very easy question if you do it off the cuff, but, they would know.
Gail?
Gale Associates.
Well, then, again, you have to hire him, we would have to contract for it, and I,
Just ask the question.
no,
Just ask
he's a consultant, I'm not gonna start using his consulting services.
And one more item.
And he's gonna say no, because he wants to be hired for a consulting. Do you see what I'm saying? I need,
That's his bread and butter.
right,
I'll find out.
You're gonna go check his refrigerator,
Call
right?
these
I have
guys,
some
I
reasons.
know,
you get the same thing.
I know.
They're working for the other guy, so.
let me
Like I said,
see,
Lakes
there's
Region
gotta,
should- Lakes Region should very quickly give you that.
Yeah. they'll-
The state, call DOT, their administrator will
That
tell
might-
you.
that might be a
listed there.
Yeah, call DOT.
Took them off the internet.
There's a difference between this traffic study. Now, one more thing. Sean has resigned, and I can stay where I am. The only reason that I came in the first place was because seats were empty, and then when the seats could get filled, I'd drop back to alternate, and if there were alternates, I'd drop back and do nothing. But right now, this puts us down 2, and so I'm gonna ask the selectmen to approve me to be a full-time member unless you want somebody else.
I would advise against that for what I said earlier. You're on the zoning board, and having a discussion here on a particular topic would prejudice you from sitting on the zoning board, because the zoning board is the appeal board for a planning board decision if appealed. And you'd have to recuse, and it's a wasted conversation at that point.
could I just ask really quickly, based on that's a good point, just for my knowledge, are you gonna, because we are limited, way more, are you gonna recuse yourself based on this activity on the hardscrabble when it goes on Thursday? I just want to know, because I have to make sure, because I made the mistake of thinking us not having a quorum. So do you know if you're going to or not?
I've got to think about that, because I haven't formed an opinion as to whether they can or cannot do what they want to do.
Okay, I wouldn't,
And
right.
we need the additional information. When that information comes, then
Not here.
let me finish. I should be able to sit on that, because I have not formed my opinion. That's the clear in Winslow.
But you won't get that by Thursday. You won't get that additional, that's in 2 days.
Yeah, then we kick the can down the road.
You don't even want hardscrabble to be seen on Thursday.
No.
No, it wasn't hardscrabble,
It's
I
not-
apologize.
It's not what I want.
It was Fox.
It's what the board makes as a reasonable decision in order to do their job and do it within the statutes.
I was just wondering if you were going to recuse yourself, because I might,
At this point, no,
okay.
because I don't know what the criteria are. All I know is I read something that said, hey, there's this, and then brought it here to get it addressed. And so when we get the legal opinion, so I don't think it can go forward on the zoning board.
I did make a mistake, I apologize. It isn't hardscrabble, they're right, it's Fox. So we don't have to wait for legal. So I do apologize for that. It's not the hardscrabble one, so I don't think you're sitting on, you're right. Regardless, I don't think you need to recuse yourself. I made the mistake of saying hardscrabble, it's Fox is being seen.
I think I have proved with Avenue, Spring Street, that in fact I understand Winslow, and I withdrew from it the first case when it came through, and I withdrew from it from the second time it came through. I understand what Winslow means. Wait a minute, please. When it came to Avenue out there, even, I raised it with him, whether I sat or not. So it is being impartial, not having made a decision as to what would happen. So in the case of a jury, Herb robs a bank, and I'm a juror, and I saw him coming out of the bank. Clearly, I can't sit, okay? Or I heard his wife say he robbed the bank. I can't sit, because I've got to give that information to someone else.
I was just asking for numbers so I could make some phone calls prior to Thursday. That's all I was trying to get an idea.
Okay.
It was not that I know you have very good
Get as many
knowledge.
as, get as many
Many as you can in case you want to, absolutely. I was just wondering about numbers. No, I know you have the grasp of it, and that you hold firm to your beliefs on that, as you should. I
Okay.
just don't, I want to make sure we have a quorum.
Herb, he just said that if he sees you come out of the bank, he's already decided that you are robbing it, whether he sees you money or not.
How'd you get into breaking a bank robbery?
I am the most
I just-
innocent person you've ever
I
seen.
just want to ask if you're going to share with everybody else.
Else.
Our next order of business
Then we'll all
is,
vote not guilty.
under communications, is public participation pertaining to the topics within our purview. So I'll open it to the public. Is there any questions, comments?
Maura?
Seeing no hands, we will come back to the board.
I had a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All
And a
those in favor
third.
say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Good, because you'd have to sit here all by yourself.